And away we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. And the happiest of Mondays to you. Hope you had a spectacular sportsing weekend. I did, minus my New Orleans Saints absolutely crapping the bed in just the most New Orleans Saints kind of way. You know, they build you up, Buttercup, just to let you down. Ain't that football? Ain't that a kick? Look at Lonzo over here. Look at Lonzo over here. Hey, Lonzo, you didn't score as many as the Dolphins did, so take that. Best offense in the league belongs to Miami, baby.
Well, Travis need a little something for later. You know what I'm saying? I just, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you've ever questioned whether the phrase shoot or shoot is true, in case you missed it, Tay-Tay was up in KC this weekend.
You know, I don't normally completely disagree with a host on another show on another station that I also may happen to be on who pointed out what a mess Taylor Swift is and that Travis Kelce's in trouble. But that person doesn't know the entire story, how Travis Kelce, as Rob just said, shot his shot, and apparently it worked. And then I also saw Taylor's biggest fan, and I made the mistake of clicking on it. Should not have done that on the X because it was explicit about she must really be into what's going on down there. That's the only reason why because he's just ugly and I don't get it. And I don't get and she's a Philadelphia fan. Why is she with Kansas City? I'm okay because it's Taylor, but at the same time, she must really like his bleep. And then she went on for like a couple more minutes before I was like, you know what? I can't listen to this anymore. This is bad. And it's like, lady, you look like you're probably early 30s. What the heck are you doing?
She probably likes his bleep. Wow. I planned on jumping right into college football, but then Lonzo decided to go that direction. Amazing, my friends.
So
what a start to the show.
Anything
everybody.
that says Swifty's biggest fan, Taylor's biggest fan, don't click on that. Just don't do it.
First off.
Yeah, you're going right to find it during the break, aren't you?
Because that's hilarious. Hilarious. I even wrote down, if you were to take a look at the prep sheet this morning. So it literally says on the prep sheet that, we like to kind of have some fun in segment number one. We set up the rest of the show, but it quite literally, you can't read it because I have the handwriting of a drunken doctor, but it literally says, sorry, no fun first segment. We got to go right into Clemson. And what did we get from Lonzo? Someone on Twitter says Tay-Tay likes Kelsey's Lil Kelsey, and it apparently set the internet ablaze. Amazing.
I don't know.
First off, let me be...
what has this world come to?
Let me be very clear about this. All right? Every one of y'all will be lucky to be with Taylor Swift. She's a billionaire. She's a very pretty girl. She's wildly talented.
All right. Let me just say, every girl out there would be lucky
to
be with Travis Kelce. Yeah. He's a good-looking dude. He's got everything. He's got an awesome podcast. So it goes both ways, okay?
It's not real.
Listen, let me be abundantly clear. There was a second part to what I was about to say, and the second part is this. Don't
you disrespect Travis Kelce.
Oh, no, quite the opposite. There is a very small number of people on planet Earth that could have ended up with Taylor, and I'd have been like, yeah, that checks out. That's pretty good. I like that.
I'm not so sure it's completely real, but she was up there with Mama Kelce. And she did his catchphrase, which was "Let's bleep and go." That's his catchphrase. And
okay, time out.
And they left the
You
arena,
have
but
to
they were
stop.
not holding hands when they left the arena. They were walking next to each other.
Stop. Because you got so much wrong in that take. First off, let's bleeping go is not Travis Kelce's catchphrase. It's just a catchphrase.
No, I do believe that it is copywritten by Travis Kelce.
It's not.
Stop disrespecting Rob just because you're afraid you'll have to start paying him money because you use the phrase so much.
No, stop. Second off, and let me throw this in there before I even get to second off. I used to work with a guy back in the day. He was a Dallas Cowboys fan. It's not Cole Bryson, all right, because he's better than this. But I used to work with a cat back in the day who was a dear friend and a mentor of mine in that business. And we did the morning show together. He was a Cowboys fan. And this was back in the days of Tony Romo. And there was a day where the camera caught Romo on the sideline with his hat backwards. And this cat, from that point on, called wearing your cat backwards, doing it Romo style, which infuriated me because no one gets hat backwards.
Because Romo didn't get benched like Rob did when he put his hat on backwards.
Not done. If any player gets credit for the cat being backwards, it's doing it blank style,
Ken Griffey Jr.
It's Ken Griffey Jr. You're doing the same thing with let's bleeping go. It's not and I love Travis Kelce. I've told you this. That's my dog. I love that guy, all right? But let's bleeping go does not belong to TK. It's every athlete's catchphrase right now. A. B. The list of people that I see Tay-Tay with, and I'm like, you know what? I'm good with that. Is like Travis Kelce, maybe like three other people. And
Tom Hiddleston.
I know it is legit. I know it's legit. Do you want to know how I know it's legit?
You're right, James. He does own the word jabroni also.
I know it
First one to ever
legit.
say that.
I'm not going to stop. Wait, where is it? Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. I know
he stole legit. That from Kelce. Don't disrespect.
And I know it's legit because and only because if she starts rocking your colors, especially within a calendar year of you knocking her team off of the trophy pedestal, it's legitimate. All right? It's legit. The lady friend, the fiancé, was a fan, and I'm air quoting this because she's a college football girl first, always will be. But she had another NFL team that she was a fan of because her BFF is a legitimate fan of that team. And we got, and I'll tell you who it was, the Falcons. All right?
Ugh.
I know.
Ugh.
So when we started dating, and we got to our first football season together, and I was like, hey, you can't do that anymore. Do what? You can't wear that black and red stuff. She's like, oh, when you're playing them? No. At all. No black and red. You can't do Falcon stuff with me. There's if you were an Eagles fan or a Chargers fan, I'd be like, all right, whatever. But I can't be with the Falcons fan. I can't do it. Right? And now, when she told me that football season, she's like, listen, when we make this serious, for real serious, serious, talking about the future series, then I will dump all of that.
Poof.
Right. Because I'm a casual Falcons fan, right? I'm not hardcore.
No, you're talking about her.
I'm talking about her.
Yeah.
Correct.
I mean, because someone will clip that and say,
no, I'm a deadly serious anti-Atlantist.
Okay. All right. Just trying to help you out.
So she was like, I'm a casual fan of that team. Not hardcore. I just like them because my best friend likes them. And we used to go do bottomless mimosas on NFL Sunday. And that's who she watched. So whatever I was in. She also liked Tampa Bay there for a minute because Tom was down there.
Come on. Don't be a front runner. You're better than that.
So when we got real serious. Like when it was like, yo, we got labels.
Do you have to air quote? Does that take
dates.
away from the seriousness?
Yes, because to me, it's like either you're dating or you're
By
not.
the way, you could see the strength of his air quotes on Facebook, YouTube,
like
Twitch, or the X.
Levels of dating, and we went from like dating to like for real, and then to like serious dating. When we got to the serious dating stage, I'm like, listen, you cannot wear that. You can't. It's the rival.
You didn't say that. Tell me you did not just say that.
Sure did, Book. Sure did. And when she, like, the first time I told her that, she kind of pushed back. She's like, well, I've been supporting them for a while. And I'm like, all right, let me tell you how this goes. I said, she's a Gamecock, right? I said, let me ask you this. If I rolled up to a Saturday brunch in college football season and I was wearing purple and orange, before I could finish the sentence, she's like, I'd leave. And I'm like, exactly. That but Atlanta. All right?
Wait a minute. Where
that
is that?
but Atlanta.
Yeah.
Who
would wear that stuff? Ugh.
If I rolled up to a lunch date with you rocking purple and orange, she's like, I'd leave. I would not be seen with you. I'm like, exactly that, but NFL. She's like, all right, I get it. So now she's got Saints gear. She went and bought herself this past week a big pair of black and gold fleur-de-lis earrings. She's got some Saints shirts in the repertoire now.
How'd that go for her yesterday?
Shut up, Lonzo. Who asked you? Who invited you? You don't even go to this school. All right.
Maybe not for much longer. Who knows?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to get into and talk about on the radio broadcast today, including more Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift talk. It was the talk of the NFL yesterday. Yeah. We got to talk. We listen. You have to like it. We got to talk Los Tigres. You got to out the gate. You can't even like let me set it up as we're going to be serious about this verse.
I thought I timed it. I thought it got right as you hit the. I was on it, dude.
Just from the get. Lonzo will show no mercy today.
Hey, you and I both heard what I was trying to do before we went on the air. That wonderful piece of audio that I've just ended up saying, nah, I can't do this.
So I'm not going to tell you what music Lonzo had picked out to play during the Clemson segment. I'm just going to say I'm not going to play it. I can't promise for him. I want you to know, Clemson fans, those of you that showed up for the show today, I want you to know that I am going to take this conversation very seriously. I am going to approach this conversation with the depth that it deserves to be approached with, and then also Lonzo's here. No! I should really drop the volume on that clip, shouldn't I?
You should let me finish. Go Duke.
So here is where I have come down on Clemson. And we're gonna dive deep.
I've been coming down on Clemson for years.
Probably the wrong phrase there. Let me try again. Here is where I currently stand with the Clemson Tigers.
Acceptable.
Where I currently stand is this. Your coaching cost you that game. Hands down, no questions asked. Clemson should have won that football game. Clemson not just could have, but straight up should have won that football game on Saturday.
I don't have any laughter. I gotta get some. I'll just be genuine and laugh about it. Wow. The same take's going to be echoed later on for 3 straight hours.
I mean, listen.
The fourth hour don't count. They don't really do anything in that.
If Mark Ryan and I agree on a take, it's probably a good take.
Throwing names out there.
I
never said anything. I was talking about Jim Rome. So I don't know what you're talking about. It's called plausible deniability.
Agree on it, not when you say it.
I never said his name. You did.
When Mark Ryan and I agree on a take, it's probably a real good take.
No,
right?
No, it's a sure sign that the Saints lost.
I am here in large part because he and I disagree on most everything in the world.
You know what? I am here because he and I disagree on almost everything.
I was not ready. We agree on this take, and that is because it is a correct take. The coaching took that dub away from Clemson on Saturday. Now, there's the bad news. The good news
Wait,
is that
was it the Clemson way, or was it the new offensive coordinator, the guy, the man is going to come in and fix the Brandon Streeter stuff?
well, if I was you, Lonzo, and I wanted to know the answer to that question, I'd stick around for the next segment because I have it. And I'm going to tell you what it is when we come back. And I'm going to give you the silver lining that is attached to it. Then, hour number 2, we bat lead off with the Robbie remix. I'm going to give you the AP top 10, except I'm going to actually reorganize them into the correct order. Then we'll get into everything else going on in college football, like Ryan Day v. Lou Holtz. Can't wait for that smackdown that took place this weekend. South Carolina knocks off Mississippi State. Can they keep the momentum rolling into Neyland? We'll talk about that later on in the radio broadcast. And then in the final hour of the show, our reactions to the NFL week that was. We'll talk every game that took place this weekend except New Orleans at Green Bay right here on the Rob Brown Show. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Fan Upstate.
World.
All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right there. We shall be right back. Let's bleeping go.
This is Derek Brown.
Hey, this is Bryce Young.
Upstate. Currently, it's 69.
Rich Eisen here from Monday.
It
Night
is, Zach.
Football
That's
on
the
Westwood
problem.
One.
I
Don't
mean,
miss
that is
any
the
of the
problem.
fun
And there is a
matches this
generation
season.
of
Kevin
people
Harlan and Hall of
who
Famer
don't know
quarterback
what
Kurt
that
Warner on
is.
site calling
And
the game.
unfortunately
On that,
for you and
from the
other
studio for the pregame and to wrap up the weekend's action.
Tiger
Join us
fans,
on air and on the free live stream.
that used to be
Sponsored
the
by
Clemson
AutoZone
way.
for Monday Night Football.
Get ready for the game with more details and preview at Westwood One.
And Kevin, you're right. They only put 10 men out on the field, but that's their fault. Am I supposed to say, oh, we won only because of, no, man, we were going to, Ohio State was going to score anyway. It was going to happen. What a game that was, though. There are a lot of good games, including Clemson, Florida State, unless you're on the losing side, I guess. James, I've got to admit, I've never seen Mean Girls. I know what it's about, but I went to high school. So, I mean, I'm well aware of what Mean Girls are because high school is Mean Girls. But was Rob referencing Mean Girls? Probably.
One of the sound bites I'm using is from Mean Girls.
See, I never would have recognized it because I've never seen it.
This is like a really huge deal.
Oh, that's what that's,
Yes.
You actually said that, like, I think last week. Uh-oh. Sheamus is out due to injury.
Well, that's a huge bummer.
Well, as long as he's not out due to being cut.
That's true.
So Matt Riddle gets dropped. Is anyone surprised? Especially after the Washington airport incident?
No.
The fact that, yeah.
No, he was skating on thin ice anyway.
And the funny part is Randy Orton has been seen at the PC.
Yeah.
Comes back and his guy is done. And I would not be shocked if Riddle showed up in AEW. Because out of all those guys who got let go, he's the biggest star.
He's got too many issues that
really?
come.
Really? So did CM Punk. So did some other guys.
Yeah, but Punks were relegated to wrestling stuff. Riddle's got domestic violence issues in his past, and that's what's going to do him in.
Yeah. Yes, Kevin, but you know what? I did that because of you. You're welcome. I just want them to be bad because of you, Kevin, and some guy named Matt. That's all. We're doing this. You said it's the Clemson segment, so I was sorry I was a little late on queuing up the sounder, but it's good to go now.
Zach popped into the chat. Zach said, "Oh yeah, I recognize the old ways when I see them. Good news is I can't get too upset going forward as there's already nothing left to play for. No playoffs, no conference title, still have potential losses on the schedule, just playing to grow and develop for next year."
Wow. And Zach can attest to this, and so can some other Clemson fans. That's the way it used to be. That is the way it used to be. Maybe a decade ago, I guess. When I first moved here, which was more than a decade ago, it was 26 years ago, that's how it was. It was Clemson may have a decent season, but they would lose games. That Clemsoning thing is dumb. It never made sense to me. People calling it that. You either win or you lose. And I know you're saying it's because of coaching. Coaches don't go out on the field. Coaches don't execute. By the way, Clemson looked really good. That's the best Cade has looked all year. But they still lost.
So, couple of things went wrong in the face of a lot of things going right for the Clemson Tigers this weekend. I think you can look at the growth of Cade Klubnik. He was standing in the pocket. He was delivering the football very well. I think you can look at the run game, $169 on the ground between Maffa and Shipley with a couple of others sprinkled in. I think you can look at that defense, which held Florida State to, I believe, 4 of 13 on third down conversions. That's an incredible number against that offense. I think you can take into consideration the fact that we have seen what that Florida State offense can do, and you held them to 24 in regulation. Very few defenses, and Dabo said this after the game in his press conference, and I think he was correct. Very few teams are going to keep FSU to 24 or fewer. They have that kind of offense queued up. But there were some problems. Number one, I said going into this game that if there was a turnover that FSU either scored on or was set up to get points from, a field goal, whatever, that was going to dramatically impact Clemson's opportunity to win the game. And there was a fumble, a scoop and score by Kalen DeLoach, who took it back to the house. And without that turnover and score, Clemson wins that football game. But there were other opportunities. And the one that jumped off the page, and here's the thing, it frustrates me when I have to talk about something like this. It frustrates me because I know that every other sports talk radio show host in the upstate, in the state, in the region, in the Southeast, and across America that talks about this is going to bring it up.
Come on, not across America. Not across America, they don't care.
I said that talks about this.
That
there's going to be a
talks
lot
about
that don't talk about it at all.
Okay, all right. I thought you meant in general who talk about sports.
No,
that's how I took
it.
it.
Talk about this game are going
You're
to
talking
bring
about
up,
the Clemson loss.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to be clarify because they lost Saturday.
We may have mentioned that.
Okay.
They are going to bring up the 3rd and less than 1 in a game where Will Shipley and Phil Maffa both were slicing and dicing the Florida State lack of run defense. 3rd and 1, ball game on the line, and they call an RPO. They call a run pass option. Now, as Peyton Manning is very fond of saying on his Manning cast on Monday nights, just do the R. When you start adding the P's and the O's in the run pass option.
Run.
There you go.
All right. I know about the P. I've heard about the P.
When you start to add the P's and you start to add the O's, you increase the complexity of any given play. And when you increase complexity of any given thing, the opportunity for mistakes skyrockets. It rises exponentially. And that's exactly what happened. They asked Cade on 3rd and 1 to read, then to do the option, then to make the pass. Now, Cade had done RPOs in this game. He has done them in the past, and he's done them well. But if you need a yard, and I mean this when I say it, I put this on caliber with Pete Carroll's decision in the Super Bowl not to give the ball to Marshawn Lynch. Phil Maffa was Marshawn Lynch in that game. Slice and a dice. Phil Maffa was running it the way that Marshawn was running against Tom Brady and his well, not Tom Brady, but against the Patriots that Tom Brady played for. And yet, the Seahawks did what? They overcomplicated it. They overthought it. They got too deep in their own brain. They were too smart for their own good. And how do you like them apples? That, to me, was just overcoaching. But here's what blows my mind. Of all the complaints we've heard about Dabo Swinney, about Garrett Riley, about this offense, what have those complaints predominantly been? It's too simple. It screens constantly. It's the same draws. It's the same plays over and over. It's just the same stuff. And yet, in the one opportunity that actually made perfect sense, that's when they decide to get complicated. That's when they decide to spice it up.
They know this is coming, so what we're going to do is we're going to throw this in there. It's totally going to work because they know this is coming. It's been working all day, so they're going to be ready for it. They haven't stopped it all day, but this will be the one time they stop it, so we're going to do something different. It's going to blow their minds.
You jumped in over your head. You overthought it, right? Now, I've got deeper thoughts on this game. For instance, I think there were a number of points in that game where you could pretty much point and go, Dabo's calling the plays right now. Dabo is overriding Garrett Riley right now.
It's a Clemson way.
And I probably would not have had that thought if it wasn't for the week 1 post-game press conference of Dabo Swinney, when Dabo said, we hired Garrett Riley to coordinate the Clemson offense. This is the Clemson offense. He's here to coordinate it. Now, maybe I'm being pedantic. Maybe I'm reading into this too much. Maybe I'm being a literalist, and in this case, it's a bad idea. But I think words matter. And I think if you pay attention and you truly hear what people are saying, I think more often than not, whether they outright say it or not, words can give away what a person is really thinking. And when I go back to that press conference, what I heard was Dabo saying, we're still doing it my way. I just got a guy here that I hope can add a little spice to it. It wasn't, I brought this guy in to call the plays. I brought this guy in to run the offense. I brought this guy in because of the success that he had in the last place that he coached. It read to me, it sounded to me like Garrett Riley is here to make sure that we have the best version of what I want. Now, for a coach that's won a couple of natties in the past, 6 years, that might not be the worst thing in the world. Nick Saban is a guy in a similar boat to Dabo. 3 years ago, if Nick Saban came out and said, we're doing everything my way, my coordinators are here to coordinate what I want to do, the response to that would be, yeah, that makes sense. That sounds like the right thing because of, all of the national championships that you have won. But Nick, this year, I'm kind of leaning on it like, what are we doing here, coach? Right? Like, what are we doing? Dabo has some leeway on doing what he wants and calling the shots because he's won a couple of natties. But, I'm not saying 2 losses overrides the success of 2 natties. How many times have I said it? Only one team can win a natty any given year. One. Just one. So if you've won 2.5 decades, you're doing pretty good. But we always want more, don't we? We always want more. If you were on top of the mountain, you want to stay there. If you're at the base of it, you want to get up. If you're in the middle, you keep going, what can I change to make up more ground? And I think we had in that game, and I said this on Friday, I took a little flack from it from some people. This was a philosophy battle. It was not just a college football game. It was a philosophy battle. What transfer portal players for Florida State made an impact? I don't know. Johnny Wilson, Keon Coleman, who took in the game-winning touchdown, Jordan Travis, who threw it, a good chunk of the offensive line, a good chunk of the defense. FSU is a team that, when it comes to the starting 22, is built out of the portal. Clemson, on the other hand, is very much not at all. So this was a philosophy battle, and the new way beat the old way. Could the old way have won? You're damn right they could have. And I argue that they should have. But I feel like this L is squarely attached to the fact that Dabo is just going to do it the Dabo way come hell or high water. I'm not going to lean on the portal to fix where there's problems. I'm going to go make sure I get good kids who want to be here. Well, how'd that go? Yeah. For those of you that can't hear it on the stream, it's a little I did it my way. Lonzo, what a brilliant call on a song. I don't think there could have been a better song to describe this game. You spent the entire game doing it your way. It put you in a spot where you were up against it late. And then in the one spot on 3rd and less than 1 where you should have done it your way. Bada bing, bada boom. You switched it up. You try something new. Be a real shame if something happened to you. And something happened to you, huh? I mean, it's bad. You had a drop pick. You had a scoop and score for 6. Rogers pointed it out on the stream, and he's absolutely right. You had a drop pick, you had a scoop and score, and you had the missed field goal. If that missed field goal connects, we're not having this conversation. But why did that missed field goal miss? What happened there? It's because Clemson didn't have a kicker. They had to go get some guy out of Charleston who used to kick a long time ago, put him on the team, 5 days before the game, and be like, hey, you might be in a spot where we got to trot you out there for a 44-yarder with the most important game of the last 2 years on the line.
And old Vanilla did nothing but talk about that over and over again.
Yeah.
Sean McDonough, right?
Old
Vanilla. Yeah. He just over and over again. And this is the story. And, Dabo's son says he's still enrolled, so we should bring him in. It's like, dude, you are going to make him miss a field goal.
Look,
if you believe in those sort of things.
If he hits the field goal, we're not having this conversation.
He hit other ones.
He did.
He missed.
He hit one
in
the first half. He hit one.
Yeah,
a little bit shorter. If he hits this, what are we talking about today? My goodness, what a call from Dabo Swinney to bring this kid in. This kid with ice water in his veins, but he didn't. He pushed it. And he opened the door. Now, it didn't directly cost Clemson the game because Florida State then drove back the other way. And what happened? Clemson's defense stalled him out outside of field goal range. Clemson's defense gutted out a stop to at least give the opportunity to win it in OT, and they probably should have. But Jordan Travis, transfer player, threw it after Johnny Wilson, transfer player, cleared the area up to Keon Coleman, transfer player, who mossed the whole defense and came down with a game winner.
I got to say, if I were a Clemson, if I was a fan of that team, I saw some bright spots. I saw Cade play like what you thought he should be able to play. I saw the defense do some things they hadn't done in a while. I saw a lot of promise. This year is not that year, but I mean, the next couple of years, if they continue to improve like they are now, the rest of the season, they're gonna be back to where they were before.
Yeah,
you're gonna have a down season every once in a while. You just are. And as Zach said earlier, and I mean, your season's over. It is, and there are 1, maybe 2 losses left on the schedule. So there's a good shot that you finish 4th or 5th in the ACC.
There's also a good shot they still finish 2nd.
No,
if they win
no,
out.
no,
now,
no, no. Come on.
If they win out, but here's the thing: does anybody see him out? See him winning out now? I don't see Notre Dame losing to Clemson at this point. Do you?
Even the most optimistic are probably not.
Well,
saying
hang on, because here's the other side of that coin, right? Like everybody's talking about, like they just lost to Wake Forest. Let's hold on a damn second here. They just lost to the number 4 team in the country, right? The number 4 team, and you took them to overtime.
Yeah, but Clemson is supposed to be that number 4, that number 2, that number 1 team.
But they're not. So instead of looking at it as what it's supposed to be, let's look at it as what it is. This team just went past the brink with the number 4 team in the country, and everybody's like, oh, they got 3 more losses. Who else left? They got Notre Dame, and that's it. That's who's left.
Excuse me, the best quarterback in the SEC is still out there.
Sure
and this is not a joke. The best quarterback in the SEC.
I don't disagree with that.
Who didn't miss a pass in a half of football.
Right.
That guy is still out there.
Yes,
South Carolina beat Clemson last year, and they could beat him again this year.
They just played the best quarterback in the ACC, maybe. Drake May's got an argument because he's still slinging the rock. But they just played the best quarterback in the ACC, and they had him dead to rights. Spencer's very good. Xavier Legette's very good. But Keon Coleman and Jordan Travis are just as good, and Clemson had them on the ropes until past the very end.
All right, so even though Rob doesn't consider them a threat, I do.
No,
that's how you made it sound.
Is South Carolina as good as Florida State? Yes or no?
I don't know. They haven't played each other.
No, they're not. Yes, you do.
I don't know.
No, they're not.
I don't know that.
Yes, you do. South Carolina is not as good as Florida State. All right? And Florida State just got taken to the limit.
What's that? Transitive?
passed it.
You're doing the transitive thing.
I'm doing the eye test.
The
thing.
transitive thing is criticized all the time unless it's being used for the argument
Set
that
a
you're
line.
using.
Florida State, Clemson right now. Set a line.
Florida State, Clemson, they just played each other.
Florida State, South Carolina. Set a line.
I think you need to calm down. That's what I think. I'm going to go.
I'll say that when I don't have the button ready.
I'll go 7.
-7?
Yeah.
Florida State?
Yeah.
So they're better. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's all I needed. Yes.
No.
Florida State is better than South Carolina per your line.
But you know what? South Carolina doesn't play Florida State. You know who South Carolina does play, though?
All right.
Clemson.
So,
yes.
So now that Lonzo has answered and answered correctly, by the way.
It'll never make it on the air.
Since Lonzo has answered and answered correctly, Florida State's better than Clemson, or better than South Carolina. They are better than Clemson per the scoreboard.
But again, so what? They don't play them.
I'm going to finish this point if it kills me, and it might. It might. Florida State's better than South Carolina today. That could be said differently, but you just set the line at FSU -7, a full touchdown. South Carolina is not as good as Florida State, and Clemson just took Florida State past the limit. By the way, in a game that Florida State never led in regulation, never led that game in regulation. The only time they led was in overtime. Now, that's the time that matters the most, but the only time they led was in OT. So right now, the only team left on the schedule that, to me, based on the fact that Clemson just took the number 4, now for some reason, number 5 team in the country into overtime, that I think I have to look and go, that's a favorite right now, is Notre Dame.
So you're willing. So you're
Carolina.
willing to go ahead and take a bet right now that South Carolina is going to lose to Clemson.
No.
Right now.
No.
That's what I hear?
I'm not.
That's
What I'm saying is
Am I the only one hearing this?
Yes.
Text line 71307.
Here's what I'll say. I'm not going to take a bet on a week 14 game today. But what I'll say is this. The people that are screaming, Clemson's got
But
2
you
or
were
3
okay
more
with a
losses.
hypothetical line between South Carolina and Florida
Yes.
State, but it's a
I didn't
team
ask you
that
to-
actually plays them. You don't want to do that right
I
now.
ask you to set a line, not bet on
Okay,
one.
what's the line with South Carolina and Clemson right now?
South Carolina, Clemson right now, I'm going Clemson -3.5. I'm going -3.5.
No.
How? No.
No.
All right, we're going to come back to this. I don't necessarily think it's a long way in the distance. But yes, based on what I saw, taking the number 5 team in the country, at the time, number 4 team in the country, to overtime. Duke, by the way, now a top 15 team who beat them. South Carolina's played one ranked team. They got beat. They're about to play their second. Tennessee's an 11-point favorite.
You know what? And when South Carolina plays Clemson, they still won't be playing a ranked team.
Correct. They won't, but that is irrelevant. What I'm saying
You just
is,
made that. Okay. All right.
what I'm saying here is, those of you that are screaming, Clemson's got 3 more losses. If they do more dumb stuff like they did against FSU, they do. The silver lining is, as I've said many times, sometimes you get punched in the mouth and you're better for it. Is that what happened? We'll find out. Let's take a break. We'll finish this thought up on the other side. It's the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
But through it all, when there
Do the people on the stream hear this?
No, I took it off.
Waving my phone for no reason.
I let it play intermittently.
Okay.
I can't say the word, but I know what it means. And you know. Yes, noted Clemson homer Rob Brown. Noted Clemson homer. People hearing what I was hearing, you know. James, Clemson doesn't suck, but they were not as good as they have been in the past. They weren't good enough to beat Florida State. You can blame it on coaching. You could blame it on this. You could blame it on that. But in the end, they lost. And if the Notre Dame team that barely lost to Ohio State shows up and plays Clemson, Clemson is in trouble. And at that point, you find out, then it comes down to coaching, because you find out how much they can keep this team up knowing they have nothing to play for. And if you have nothing to play for, the rivalry becomes the only thing. And if you can't get them up for that, they're going to lose that game like they did last year.
James, I don't know if you are
trying to
wearing the most garnet shaded glasses of all time or just a troll, but you're one of the two.
I love you, James. You're awesome.
The team that knocked off LSU 45-24 away from their home, that walked into Death Valley, whether or not the team is good, one of the most difficult places to play in college football, and walked out of there with a dub. It is yes, they're one of the top 5 teams. And I'm going to go ahead and give you the spoiler alert now. When we do our Robbie remix at the top of the next hour, where I reorganize the AP top 10 teams into the correct top 10, I got FSU at number 2 right now.
By the way, Zach, Sierra and that guy who plays in Denver. He sort of plays in Denver.
When we ranking NFL power couples, we got the T's, aka T squared, T Swizzle, and TK. Brady and Giselle aren't a power couple.
Yeah, but they were. No,
in
history.
In their time.
In history, because Romo and Simpson were Jessica Simpson were only together for a while.
You know what? I could have fun with that.
But as far as that goes, I think you got to go Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce because of the height of their popularity right now.
I actually don't disagree with that. I would like to disagree with Lonzo on things right now just to keep the contentious mood in the place.
I don't like it. That sort of thing gets me traded.
But
they probably won't, Zach. They probably won't.
But I think TK and T Swizzle.
You got to respect that game, though. You got to respect that game.
I will say this. I cannot wait until her next album called 87.
I have never purchased or downloaded a Taylor Swift song or album. But when this thing goes out, yeah, I'm getting that. Because I want to hear that. I do.
You got any interest in this? The Continental?
Yeah, I just haven't had a chance to watch it because I wanted to watch it with Cameron.
Yeah.
And my wife probably would want to watch it too because she loves the John Wick movies. So yeah. And I knew it came out this past week. I was really, really busy. By the way, did you see the stuff that I sent you on Twitter? I sent you 3 things. One of them you cannot listen to on the stream. The other 2 I thought were funny.
Well, now I have to.
The lady
I'll watch them on my phone.
The lady I was talking about, Jason Kelsey is the one who posted it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Bill Belichick. Travis Kelce has had a lot of big catches in his career. This would be the biggest. Andy Reid said, I set them up. Amazing.
You know something else amazing? The latest State Farm commercial with Andy Reid. What about those nuggies?
Oh, yeah. Do it again with those nuggies. Andy Reid saying nuggies was not something I was ready for.
Exactly, Jesse. I mean, there are definitely positives there. This season's over. But don't need to make excuses, and they're going to lose some more than likely.
Wrap Wrapping up hour number 1 of the Rob Brown Show here on the Fan Upstate. I am Rob, the great one, Lonzo, on the other side of the metaphorical glass today.
I want some Italian food after playing Old Blue Eyes. Just, yeah, I mean, just.
Bro, I was watching The Sopranos last night. I mean, I'm only 21 years behind, but I was watching The Sopranos, and they had a high-stakes poker game going, and they're spinning the camera around, and I'm like, that dude looks crazy familiar. Who is that cat? And then I went and looked, and they had Frank Sinatra Jr. in there, which was not even the best cameo I saw last night. They also had an episode where Jon Favreau cameos through an entire episode as himself, as a film director, coming off the height of Swingers. It was incredible.
Look at what he did after that.
How did none of y'all force me into watching The Sopranos 20 years ago? Texter said, I agree with Lonzo. Gamecocks have the better quarterback and would be favored over Clemson right now. No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. Now, if Lonzo would have said Clemson minus 3.5, I would have accepted that as a correct answer. I'd have accepted Clemson minus 2.5. But I promise you today,
I'm not here for
Clemson's
your acceptance. Whatever, Rob Brown.
I'm aware of that. Texas said, Rob, so you're saying that Clemson is going to play their A game against every other team on the schedule. FSU, based upon resume, is the number 1 team based upon the eyeball test, and they're a flawed team. You can run right at them, right at that team, and keep their offense off the field. Also, their game plan for a good portion of that game was throwing jump balls to covered wide receivers. It's not the best team in the country. Top 10, sure. Top 5, no. Top 5 they are, all right? But they are right at 5. Here's the thing. Number 1, did you take into consideration maybe Clemson was able to gut them with the run because maybe Clemson's really damn good at running the ball? Like somebody told you they would be all damn off season long. Yes, I did. What was the number 1 thing I said about this team coming to the season if they wanted to get back to a playoff? Will bleeping Shipley needs to be the offense. Cade needs to be option number 2. And then Phil Maffa busted it up. Clemson can run on anybody. That is not a Florida State thing. That's a everybody left they play. They'll be able to run on Notre Dame when they play them. That's not a flawed team. That's a good Clemson offense. And that is why the 3rd and 1 where they went RPO was so damn frustrating. Run the ball.
Right in my chapter here. Clemson loses again. Rob says.
How did y'all turn me into the Clemson apologist?
I left it there because, it's called mystery.
By the way, Texter did correct me. I said South Carolina played a ranked team and lost. They actually played 2 and have lost to both of them. North Carolina and Georgia lost to Georgia by 10 and then 31.
I'm sure we'll talk about this a little bit later, but South Carolina found a running game.
South Carolina played a bad Mississippi
State
team.
He rolled his eyes. That was
no, because I was trying to think of what word I wanted to use to describe Mississippi State, and the best I got is
bad.
What?
I have a way to describe that eye roll. That was a Clemson eye roll.
This one is. I promise you, the goal, the objective, the thought today was not come in here and try to lift the spirits of Clemson Tigers. But
I love what this
damn ridiculous.
What the streamer said is they can run on anybody, especially a stupid. There's things in there. I'm guessing it was a curse word, hill, and it's running down the hill. Yes, after rubbing another man's rock. That's just how they do things there.
Said, Alonzo is hilarious, deflecting his nervous energy about Ohio State and projecting it on Clemson. Mark my words, Ohio State University will not be in the playoffs this year.
Excuse me, the Ohio State University?
Texter said,
ban that texter, okay? If they're not going to acknowledge they don't deserve to text this show.
That's disrespect, Alonzo.
There are some people who actually would have blocked you for that.
There's true. Speaking of disrespect, Ryan Day and Lou Holtz coming up here in just a minute. We're going to remix the AP Top 10 and more. That's all coming up as we get to everything else in college football next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Lonzo is 100% not going on the trading block. Can we go ahead and nip that in the bud?
All right, let's face it, Zach. There's no trade deadline in radio, so it could definitely happen.
I also suspect there's no trade partners, even if there was.
Well, I could think of one. I mean, I'm already kind of there too. Whatever, Kevin. I'll just trade myself. I'll schedule myself elsewhere. Of the power. Better calm down before I get a message from my wife saying I'm being too mean to Rob. I don't know, Zach. Everyone's talking about that number 1 pick, but and they don't mention Marvin Harrison Jr., so maybe he goes second. So whoever the number 2 team, it's not going to be the Colts, though. With what Minshew was able to do, think if Richardson was in there. They don't look bad. It's what good coaching can do. Kevin, I can do whatever I want because much like being a man, I define what that is. I define what a fan is for me. You define what a fan is for you. You pull for that sorry team up north where there's snow and they throw people through tables and you love that team. Good for you. And you know what? If you loved another team too, I wouldn't be critical of you because I'm not your boss. And I don't define what fandom is. And anyone who declares themselves an arbiter is laughable. But you guys already knew that.
The Ohio State.
Just doesn't have the same ring to it, does it?
Really doesn't.
How often do you use the over the?
The if it is like a movie title or something official, something important.
Like Lonzo.
The if I'm just talking.
Yeah, I get it.
Like the great one.
Yeah.
That gets a the.
Yeah. I guess it defines.
Correct.
Yeah, that's surprising, Zach, that you can do that in the NFL and keep your job. But let's face it, you can come in and get away with a lot as the coach for Indianapolis because of what they had last year. It gives you a lot of leeway to do some stuff. Let's be the opposite of Saturday. Are you serious about that, Kevin? Do you really think you really want that to happen? That would be a quarterback controversy. Josh Allen has a bad game. They'd be wanting Rattler in there.
I think Josh Allen earned a Josh back this weekend.
I don't know, man.
Say Josh Allen, Josh. No, that doesn't have the same ring to it either. So you got to either be Josh Allen, or Josh Allen, Josh Allen.
I think there's a brotherhood in the NFL as far as points being scored, and I think that Miami did something they probably shouldn't have done, and scored way too many points. Probably should have backed off. By the way, I'm being sarcastic. The record's in sight. You know it's in sight. You should break the record. You know, Kevin, that quarterback that just destroyed the Jags, he could have been a Panther. Just want to say that. Should probably kill this because, Stetson's been having some problems.
Yeah.
All right. Gonna have to say goodbye to the wiggle.
I hate it because this is a great commercial.
I will say this, Jesse. I was more excited about how much fun I was going to have with both. But I'm weird. Meows times 10.
Don't tempt him, Kev. Please.
Yeah!
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 Our numero dos of the Rob Brown Show goes now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is the Fan Upstate. How do you do, Upstate South Carolina? Hello, America.
Where's your
What
energy?
up, world?
Where's your energy, man? Okay, my bad.
God, that clip's so good. That moment was so good. Gino providing with just a season of entertainment, unless you're a Panther fan.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that in the next hour. All NFL in the third hour. College in hours 1 and 2, NFL in hour 3. I know my demo. All right. I am a demo god. Just am.
If you don't believe it, you just made the list. And I would know because I'm a wizard.
Texas said, I agree that Clemson can run on anybody, but so can those 3 Big Ten schools, Notre Dame, Miami, Georgia. Should I go on? FSU is very, very good. Resume-wise, best team in the country. With the eyeball test, I have seen at least 5 other schools better. I saw 2 that I believe that match up very well with FSU Saturday night on NBC.
Pac-12, man. Look out.
Yo, Pac-12's no joke, bro.
Farewell season. They're like, yeah, we're going to show you.
I told Cody Decker Saturday, if the Pac-12 had this year in 2015, there would still be a Pac-12. Somebody would have bought into that. There's a lot of networks right now like, crap.
I didn't see. How did do? I didn't get a chance to play.
We're about to do all the other college football stories, so stay
cool.
tuned.
I can't wait to hear.
But before we do any of that, ladies and gentlemen, we need to take a look at the Robbie Remix. We are going to take a look at the top 10 teams in the AP Top 25 poll, and we are going to remix them. We're going to put them in the correct order according to me. This is the order, the AP Top 10. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is the order the AP poll is currently sat at. Number 10, Utah. Number 9, Oregon. Number 8, USC. Number 7, Washington. Number 6, Pennsylvania State. Number 5, FSU. Number 4, the Ohio State University. Number 3, Texas. Number 2, Michigan. And number 1, Georgia. But that's not quite right to me. Now, the Robbie Remix goes this way. It completely disregards everything that happened before week 1 of this football season. You don't get bonus points for having been good last year and or the year before that. You don't get bonus points for what you did in the spring. You don't get bonus points for your preseason exhibitions. You are solely being graded upon what you have accomplished so far this year. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive in to our Robbie Remix. This is how it stands as of right now. I'm starting with number 10. That, of course, is the Michigan Wolverines. They've been hovering around the bottom of the Robbie Remix since the beginning. Why? After a 31-7 win over Michigan, over Rutgers, pardon me, this team has been remarkably consistent, although I haven't really seen the fireworks that I would have expected. Now, they did just get Jim Harbaugh back this weekend, but the scores of the Wolverines against ECU, UNLV, Bowling Green, and Rutgers are 31, 31, 35, and 30.
Yeah, the mighty Rutgers was winning at the very beginning of the game.
At the very beginning
yes,
of that game.
was amazing.
Michigan has not done anything, in my opinion, that jumps off the page. Most of the other teams above them certainly have. That brings us to number 9, the Utah Utes. The Utes, Yana. The Utes. The Utah Utes have a win over Florida, and a win that looks, as the season wears on, progressively more impressive. They also downed a top 25 this weekend against UCLA, the number 22 team in the country. Now, the Utes didn't have the firepower that I would have liked out of a top 10 team, but you have to keep in mind, they still do not have Cam Rising, a guy that, had he been healthy, is likely going to be a Heisman Trophy consideration. Probably not a finalist, but he'd be in the discussion. They have done all of this without him thus far. They also beat Baylor. They also beat UCLA in Florida. I've got the Utah Utes at number 9. Just ahead of them, landing in the 8th spot, I've got the Penn State Nittany Lions for much of the same reason that I have Michigan there, with one exception. They did blank the Iowa Hawkeyes in the whiteout this weekend, 31-0. They also have a 63-point game that they beat Delaware by. I flip-flopped them in Utah a couple of times. I flip-flopped Utah and Michigan a couple of times. I've got to give credit for the most "what did you do for me lately" situation, and that 31-0 shutout over Iowa was a good one for the Nittany Lions. I've got them at number 8. At number 7, give me the Longhorns of Texas. The good news is that Alabama looked much, much better this week than they did last week against USF, as they knocked off Lane Kiffin and his fighting Lane Kiffins. But it still was not the powerhouse win that maybe we thought it was up front. They beat Wyoming 31-10 in a game that was much closer than that final score indicated. And they did turn around and they got Baylor, and they put Baylor down with relative ease this weekend. But there are still teams that have got more firepower than Texas has so far. I've got them at number 7 in the Robbie Remix. We move to number 6, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is where we find the Georgia Bulldogs. I know, listen, the win over South Carolina was a good one. It was a Gamecock team. But it is still a team that is 3rd in the East right now. I mean, maybe we'll give them 2nd because Spencer's playing out of his bleeping mind at this point. But Georgia has, outside of that, not really played anybody. And inside of that game, it was a 10-point win that didn't need to be that close. They did beat UAB 49-21, but let's be honest, UAB is sideways right now. I am not in love with this Georgia team. I still think they have arguably the most impressive roster construction as of right this very second, but I do not think that they have got enough on the resume in the "what have you done for me so far" category. And because Kevin brought it up and said, "You're crazy as hell, Rob. Georgia is the Dogs' number 1. Yes, but remember, this is only based on what you have done this year. And so far this year, Georgia has not done anything that jumps off the page. They've played 3 nobodies and beat them all consistently well. And they were in a, pardon the pun, dogfight against the South Carolina Gamecocks until it was over. So I got to bump them down just a little bit. Now, Georgia's got obviously opportunities coming down the pipe that they can jump up in these rankings quite a bit, but not very many. Now, all of a sudden, remember, we were talking about how easy Georgia's schedule looks. How about this, Zoe? And this is of today. It could change. The last 4 weeks of the season: number 22, Florida; number 23, Missouri; number 20, Ole Miss; number 21, Tennessee, before they ended up with Georgia Tech. They went from no ranked games to 4 back-to-back against SEC teams. So we'll keep an eye on that. But right now, nothing jumping off the page to me about the Bulldogs thus far, which is why they sit behind the team that I've got in the 6th spot right now after they dumped Dion and the dudes 42-6. They kept Shador out of the end zone. Now, again, we know Colorado was without Travis Hunter, and that is a big problem for them. But the Oregon Ducks. The Ducks, on the flip side, have also played 3 questionable teams and 1 ranked team, and they beat all of them and beat them all impressively. 81 points on Portland State. Texas Tech, 38-30, 55-10 over Hawaii, and 42-6 over Colorado. This Oregon Duck team has all the right pieces clicking so far. Will their defense hold up against the powerhouse offense? We've yet to find out. That's why I've got them at number 5. At the number 4 spot, as the Robbie remixes the AP Top 10, give me the Trojans of USC, 42-28 winners over Arizona State this weekend. They also down Stanford big, Nevada big, and San Jose State. 42 is the fewest amount of points that USC has scored thus far this season. They are averaging around 53 points a game through 4 games thus far. There are very few teams that can say that. I am still absolutely concerned, without a doubt, about the ability of USC to, play defense, but they can put points on just about anybody. I've got USC at number 4. At number 3, I got a team that was in a freaking fist fight on Saturday night, and that, of course, is the Ohio State University. After a walk-off 17-14 win on the road against top 10 Notre Dame, a game, Lonzo, that they finished. There have been some games like this before that Ohio State didn't finish. Notably, last year against Georgia in the playoffs.
I think they're still probably ranked a little too high on your list, but
Do you really?
Yeah, beginning of the year when we were talking about the polls, I kept saying I think they're a little too high because the quarterback was not, we did not know it, although he looked really good. And he is getting better. He is improving. Now, by the end of the year, we'll see what happens. But this is a game, this is a team they're not there yet.
Okay.
They're not. And again, they're undefeated though. So
they are undefeated, and they've got a 63-pointer earlier in the year against Western Kentucky.
Very impressed with Notre Dame, by the way.
Notre Dame looked good, too.
Yeah.
Sam Hartman is a dude, man. I tried to tell you guys. That was always going to be a slugfest. The question was who was going to finish in Ohio State.
I think the cameraman was kind of in love with him.
You see that hair?
Because I get it. I get it.
He's got good flow.
He's almost like touchdown Jesus-esque.
The camera just loves some of us. Right?
I know. It just listen. But every time, let's show him on the sidelines.
After Ohio State scored the walk-off TD, and they went to him, and he's just on the sideline, and I was like, "Oh, you poor glorious, you glorious boy, you." It was a great look. At number 2,
you just thinking he's gonna get some sympathy love Saturday night. That's what it was.
Dollar says he did.
Yeah, probably.
Dollar says he went home and had some companionship.
I don't know. I think he's like 35 years old. He's been in football forever. So nothing wrong with that.
My dude got flow. Number 2 team in the country, according to the Robbie Remix. I am going with the Seminoles of Florida State after their 31-24 OT victory on the road at Clemson. A team that I still think is good, have all the talent, but I think 31-24 proved this team is a top flight team. You've got the 45-24 win over LSU. They dumped 66 on Southern Miss. The only question mark on here for me is that 31-29 victory against Boston College. That does concern me. But as I pointed out, there are these weird games, the whiteouts, the red bandana days, those theme days where you're going to get the best shot because the team is playing for more than just a win on those days. And I think that's what caught up with Florida State, but we're going to see. There is a lot of room left to be desired, but the fact that they are where they are and you can see that they can be even better, to me, is impressive. I got the Noles at number 2. So who is left, Rob Brown? Who did you put into the number 1 spot? Well, if you're following along with your AP Top 10, there's only one team that could be thrown into that mix. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, the quality of opponent might be lacking a bit, but the performance is not. Michael Penix Jr. and his Washington Huskies go to the number 1 spot on the Robbie Remix after a 59-32 win. You can boo all you want, ladies and gentlemen. The Pac-12 is so real this year. Michael Penix Jr. has now thrown for over 1,630 yards. He has, at this point, 16 touchdowns on the season. He has thrown a grand total of 2 interceptions on the season compared to that 16 touchdowns. He is completing passes, ladies and gentlemen, at a 74.6% completion percentage. He is averaging 11.9 yards per completion. He is 103 of 138. Michael, if the Heisman voting was today, Michael Penix Jr. wins it. And it's not close at this point because his team is 4-0. Now, they don't have
so
any
what you're
wins.
saying, it's about the victories. It's not about the quality of the play. So Spencer Rattler wouldn't be considered because they've only won 2 games.
I think he'd be considered, but I do not think he wins it. Now, that's not to say he shouldn't. That's not to say that he's not better, but I am going to tell you this. For all the discussion about Spencer Rattler, who what this kid is doing right now with the football is, I'll go this far, Alonzo. Spencer Rattler Jr. is, stop me if I'm lying, Spencer Rattler is the best quarterback in the history of South Carolina football.
No. Still Connor Shaw for me. Still Connor Shaw for a lot of people. Connor Shaw, I think, still has a lot of the records. It's going to be hard for him to beat Connor Shaw. He looks really good, though. He really does.
I mean, I get it. But what Spencer can just do, again, it's an eye test judgment, so I understand disagreeing with it. But I feel like Spencer Rattler is and can do more with the football than anybody who's ever played quarterback at that school.
No, I still am going to go with Connor Shaw for that. But Spencer Rattler does look really good.
Okay, I'm good with it. Let's look at Spencer and Michael Penix Jr. just for the lulls. Penix Jr. 103 of 138. Rattler 95 of 128. Michael Penix Jr. a 74.6% completion percentage. Spencer Rattler 74.2. Michael Penix Jr. 1,636 yards. Spencer Rattler 1,242. Averaging 11.9 yards per reception is Penix, 9.7 for Rattler. 16 TDs to 2 interceptions for Penix. 7 TDs for 2 interceptions for Rattler. A 209.6 season rating for Michael Penix Jr., a 170 for Spencer Rattler. Now, the argument obviously can be made that, Spencer Rattler is in the Southeastern Conference, which helps you but you have Georgia to bank that on so far. You also could say, yeah, but he also played North Carolina. Well, North Carolina is not a team that's winning based on defense. They're winning based on offense. So I would say Penix Jr. right now, if the Heisman Trophy race ended today, Michael Penix Jr. would be your Heisman Trophy winner. But that's not the point of this segment. The point of this segment was the Robbie Remix, your AP Top 25 remixed to what I think is a more accurate representation.
I just need to throw this in. I've been trying to get him to talk Gamecock football for an hour and 20 minutes. I mean, we started off talking about a loser team in Clemson. It didn't even win the game. And now we're doing this, which is an awesome list. But, why aren't we talking Gamecocks football? That victory.
We're about to.
Okay, if you say
Why
so.
is everybody so sensitive?
We'll see. Because usually you start a show off talking about winners, which we did because I deflected and we talked about Travis and Taylor, winners, obviously, in life. And now we should be talking about the winners in the state of South Carolina. Although Furman did really well, by the way, too. But we should talk about, South Carolina, the Gamecocks. We should do that.
Well, good thing that's literally written down on this little tablet that I have here. How about that?
Hour and a half almost.
What do you want to do? Just get it all in the first hour? Just go ham in hour one and then an hour two be like, all right,
I'm just
what do we do
saying,
now?
if I had any control, it would have been segment 2. That's all I'm saying.
Segment 2 was Clemson because segment 1 was going to be Clemson, but you brought up Tay and TK, so obviously that had to take precedence, so that had to bump everything back. But I had a benchmark at this point that I had to hit, which makes South Carolina obligatory next.
I'm getting traded, ladies and gentlemen.
AP poll says number 10 is Utah, Oregon 9, USC 8, Washington 7, Penn State 6, Florida State 5, Ohio State 4, Texas 3, Michigan 2, and Georgia 1. By the way, Georgia, Michigan, Texas, Ohio State, Florida State, Penn State, and Washington all have first place votes in the poll. The Robbie Remix poll got him spun a different way. Michigan 10, Utah 9, Penn State 8, Texas 7, Georgia 6, Oregon 5, USC 4, 3 Ohio State, 2 FSU, 1 Washington. Who is right? Who is wrong? Who do I have too high? Who do I have too low? We're going to come back, talk about that South Carolina win over Mississippi. My goodness, Lonzo, you're brilliant. We should have done that in segment number 2. I wish I'd have thought of that. South Carolina ball when we come back, and then when we end this hour, everything else. Dion and Dan Lanning, Ryan Day versus Lou Holtz, and who knows whatever else we get into on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
Look at the thing I just sent you on Twitter. Funny. It's wrong.
Donde está my Twitter? There it is. How did you not immediately post that?
Because I don't know. I just now saw that, but it's just like, okay. We're gonna take a break for a moment to mend fences and stuff, so I can see if I cannot be traded, because I don't want to get traded. I don't.
Go to www. It'd be a real shame if something happened to this establishment.com.
Hey.
Dude, so I'm watching The Sopranos. I've said that a bunch of times. But last night, there's a moment where like his kids have started to grow up a little bit, and his son, who in the show is like a freshman, sophomore in high school, drops an F-bomb at the table, and Tony just goes, "Hey!" and like does the hand thing and everything. So yes. So the rest of the night, Courtney got home last night from her trip. She walks in the door, and I just watched this episode. She opens the door and she walks in, and I went, "Hey." She's like, "You have to stop watching that show."
Sponsored by Jeff Martin Auctioneers. Jeff Martin Auctioneers is hosting the East Coast Public Auction in Pelzer on Thursday, September 28th, featuring construction and farm equipment, trucks, trailers, and more. Hit your way live on site or online. JeffMartinAuctioneers.com. Experience the difference. License 4283.
Coming up on a Monday episode of Offside, we walk around in Diesel. We will know which fan base is integrated in the private Clemson or South Carolina side. We need to be tossed off of the ledge. We'll review the high school football act with Camp Rice. And we'll talk to Jim Zoe.
Have you ever been on a ledge because of your football team?
Do what?
I mean, I'm emotional about my football team, but I've never thought this is it. I can't go on. I don't.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob, and the great one, Lonzo, is on the other side of the board. Welcome back to the show. I'm doing it in my head. Like
No. I hit it. I hit the button. No,
I'm not worried about the button.
I am.
Lonzo is a superstar.
Because I was perfect. It was in there. There was a pause. It was great, and I didn't have the pot up.
I dropped the Ohio State University earlier, and as soon as I said it, I'm like, I don't like that at all. Like, as much as I enjoy aggravating fans of Buckeye Nation, like Lou Holtz, but not as famous. As soon as I said it, I'm like, I don't like that. Alonso said, how do you determine when you use the versus the? And I said, to me, it just always felt like if it's more formal, like a title, like the great one. I've never been like, it's the great one. It's the great one.
There's grandeur to the. It's almost like royalty.
Yeah, there very much is. It's more of a title. When you drop a the on it, it's the great one. It's not the great one. I mean, it can be the great one if I'm full. I think it's really about flow of a sentence.
Yeah,
right?
Sentence structure has a lot to do with it. I agree.
Welcome back to the Rob Brown Show. It is the Rob Brown Show. Welcome back to the Fan Upstate. The Fan Upstate. I think it's about how you're saying the thing. Except Ohio State for some reason. Like, it doesn't, if I was rolling through a sentence and we were talking Buckeye football and I said it's the Ohio State, you see what I'm saying? Like, even there, it doesn't work.
Which is why they tried to copyright
yeah.
the. So, I mean.
Which was dumb, but I get it. All right, let's talk South Carolina here for just a second as the Gamecocks end up with a. I wasn't ready for that. I'm not going to lie. I forgot that was a thing.
Okay. All right.
I forgot that was a thing. 37-30 win over Mississippi State. That probably didn't need to be that close. Spencer Rattler, 18 of 20 for 288. And 3 touchdowns. And as a texter said a minute ago, Rattler's 2 incompletions. 1 was a pass interference in the end zone. The other, a dropped pass that hit the receiver in the chest. As far as I am concerned, ladies and gentlemen, Spencer Rattler was 20 of 20 in that game and probably coulda, shoulda, woulda been 20 of 20 for 4 touchdowns. When it was all said and done.
Yeah, but stats don't work that way. But still, it was awful good. He was perfect for one half of football.
16 of 16 to start, and it was great. You know, I'm a baseball guy. In baseball, You don't talk about the no-hitter. If a guy's taking a no-no into the 7th, into the 8th, you don't talk about the no-no. You leave it alone. It has been the curse of many a broadcaster. Because on one hand, a no-no makes your game more exciting. You want to tell the people out there in Sportslandia, this, ladies and gentlemen, the 7th inning, the critical stretch, because Will Williamson, the righty from Boulder, Colorado, has a no-no going. And then, of course, he, has a ground single giving up the next at bat. And it's like, dude, you didn't have to say it, right? Do you talk about that in football? They asked Beamer that at the end of the game or at the end of the half. They're like, are you going to say anything about it? He's like, I don't want to point it out to him. And I understood that entirely. Spencer was having a bleeping good day. Started 16 of 16, ended 18 of 20. His 2 INCs probably should have both been either caught or, I don't think a pass interference should count as an incompletion against a quarterback. So let's say 19 of 19 for 4 TDs. Mario Anderson ran the ball very well. 26 carries, 88 yards and a touch. He averaged 3.4 yards per carry. Now, if you are a passing offense, does anybody here, raise your hand, disagree that South Carolina is a passing offense this year? They are, right?
As of this moment, yes. But that could evolve to something else.
I mean, listen, they moved Mario Anderson into the RB1 spot, something I suggested before week 1, because I love Dak. Dak's a great guy. You need to use Dak like the Saints use Taysom Hill. Wildcat him, let him throw it, let him be a scat back. He is not RB1. Mario Anderson is. They finally went with that approach, 26 carries, 88 yards, 3.4 yards per carry, and a tutty to show for it. Spencer Rattler went 8 carries for 43 yards, including a 28-yard scamper. Dak had 10 for 24. But ladies and gentlemen, can we, for just a brief minute, talk about the dude they call XL, Xavier bleeping Legette. On the day, 5 grabs, $189 and 2 touches. On the season, 27 grabs, 556 yards. He leads NCAA football in receiving yards through this point in the season. The kid is pretty. How good is Xavier Legette? Xavier Legette is good enough to cover up the loss of juice. How good is XL going to look, Zoe, when Juice Wells gets back on the field and can start to eat up the double teams that teams are throwing at XL, and still watching him lead the Southeastern Conference, lead the NCAA in receiving yards?
Now, if they could just figure the defense out, I mean, that would probably help some too.
Will Rogers, 30 of 48 for 487 yards, a TD, and a pick.
So if you are an offense who likes to throw the big play, the bomb down the field, South Carolina is the team you want to play.
Yeah.
At least for a couple of games, we've seen that. They've got to figure out a way to clear that up.
For the record, they kept Mississippi State to a grand total of 32 rushing yards. If they have
without getting pressure on the quarterback, though,
right.
So you can stop the run, but you've got to put pressure on the quarterback, which will stop those long bombs from happening to a degree. And they were not getting pressure on him at all.
LaDeatrick Griffin, 7 snags, 256 yards, and a touch to show for it. Justin Robinson, 6 snags, 91 yards. Xavion Thomas, 5 snags, 56 yards. Yeah, that is going to get you killed. In fact, if it wasn't for the INT and the fumble takeaway, Mississippi State's probably taking this game to overtime at the very least. So there's good news and there's bad news here. The bad news is this is a not great Mississippi State team. They did beat Southeast Louisiana State University 48-7. They did knock off Arizona 31-24. Now, Arizona is not necessarily the cream of the crop. Yeah. But they're good enough. They've got to win over Stanford 21-20. So it's not the worst Mississippi State team of all time, but as I told you preseason, I got nothing for this Mississippi State team. They are the team in the SEC that's back every year. Every year. They're the Dallas Cowboys of the SEC. Every year. Clanger, 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 clanger. We're back. And every year they're not that. But Will Rogers.
What was that noise?
Cowbell.
I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
Clanger, 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 clanger. Every year.
Nope.
We get sold that the Bulldogs, this is it. They're the dark horse. They're gonna jump up. They're gonna bite Bama. They're gonna bite Auburn. They're gonna get you. The other Bulldogs are gonna jump up and get you. And every year they don't do that. But Will Rogers is a dude, man. So there's good news, there's bad news. The good news is that South Carolina's defense has been snake bit by injuries all year long. Good news is most of those guys are starting to get healthy. Most of those guys seem to be working their way back. Good news is when you get your best DBs back there on the field, you're not going to be giving up 487 through the air. Second off, you got to keep in mind, Will Rogers is a good quarterback because besides going for 487 through the air, he had one receiver do most of the work, 256 from Ladeitrick Griffin, 91 from Justin Robinson. But Will Rogers is a dude who got brought to Mississippi State by Mike Leach. God, I love that dude. Miss that guy, man. Mike Leach brought Will Rogers to Mississippi State. He is an aerial quarterback. He's an air raid dude. So finally, you saw Mississippi State turn him loose. You saw Zach Arnett turn him loose. I will go back and I will say this. You have not seen Will Rogers throw the ball that many times in any of the three previous games. He was 20 of 29 for 227 against Southeast Louisiana, 13 of 17 for 162 against Arizona, and 11 of 28 for a $103 against LSU. He threw it 48 times against South Carolina. You know what that tells me? What that tells me, great one, is that Mississippi State looked at the film. Mississippi State said, South Carolina is susceptible to the pass. South Carolina can be beat through the air. They knew that. They took advantage of that, and it worked out just fine. So,
but at the same time, that other team has to be able to stop South Carolina's offense. And it's one of those things that you always hate. You see an offense evolving, getting better and better, but the defense being stagnant. And so the offense has to score way too many points to keep them in games.
I want to chalk it up to injuries on the defensive side of the ball. You ran the ball better, not great, but better. There's a lot of teams. Florida State only ran it for what? I don't even remember. Not that many yards. Problem is, Tennessee, scratch that, Mississippi State, they weren't doing anything special or exotic. They were pretty much running a base defense on you the whole time. So if that's what you're doing, not against pressure with the run game, I get worried about the Tennessee game. I really do. Joe Milton is sitting, though, so far this season, 80 of 128 for 925. He has thrown for a 62.5% completion percentage at this point. He has 8 touchdowns to 1 pick. You're not going to get a lot of turnovers out of Tennessee. But I don't think Joe Milton has the touch with the ball that Will Rogers does. This is a winnable game. But, again, Neyland is going to be obnoxious this weekend for y'all.
Okay, is it anything other than that ever?
No, but Neyland is up there with Florida in a night game It's up there with Death Valley in a rivalry game. It's up there with the upper crust of hostile college football environments. So this is a game Tennessee has zero room for mental mistakes. Zero room for mental mistakes. JD said, we gave up too many big plays. Score should have been 44-20 or so. Hopefully DBs have a bounce back game next week.
Yeah, if you look at how the first half started and the beginning of the third quarter, it's like the very first play coming out of the third quarter is a touchdown, if I recall, to Leggett. And I mean, it's like, okay, this is going to be a trouncing. And then they let them back in the game.
Yep, that's exactly right. And Jetty just brings up a good point. He said Nealon will be extra obnoxious because of the beatdown we gave him. Like, yeah, you're correct. Spot on, JD. Spot on. Nealon's going to be Clemson game day calibers of obnoxious towards South Carolina fans.
Come on now.
That is the most complimentary
Is that
way.
possible anywhere else? I don't know.
I don't know. You need more Tennessee fans in your life. Actually, congratulations on needing more Tennessee fans in your life. They are one of a few fan bases that I am neutral to, that I'm like, I
believe I've only known one Tennessee fan in my entire life.
There are a lot, man.
Yeah.
All right. I'm intrigued. We're going to talk South Carolina, Tennessee a lot more throughout the course of the week. We got to run to a break. When we come back here in just a moment from right now, we're going to run real quick through the Ryan Day-Lou Holtz rivalry because football's fun, you guys. Rob Long's over to you on the Rob Brown Show. This is the Fan Upstate.
I have to go to the restaurant.
Yeah, that was rough.
Yep.
Do you want the reputation of being the quiet guy?
Not in the restroom.
You are correct. They have been in a very tough environment with Georgia, and they did do very well in the first half. And then in the second half, Georgia woke up, and the fans came alive, and it was a different world. You have to do to Tennessee what you did to Georgia, Alonzo. You got to score fast, and you got to take that crowd out of it fast. If you let that crowd build, it's going to be hard to get away with anything.
Just want to point out, I am the quiet guy in this room. So, Rob's only heard me get loud one time, really, and it scared everybody half to death. And that's when we were playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, it kind of came out of nowhere.
5 yards and 2 scores.
Botched that one.
It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA will reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you.
Hello.
You pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
I haven't even looked today, but yeah, it's a bunch.
Yeah, it's about like 10 seconds.
Wow.
Get that back on. I meant to do this over the weekend, but just close.
Yes, Steven. Here's the fun part.
Yeah, but
all D&D campaigns take
can't
4
do that
years.
while
That's just part of it.
So
it'll keep going with whatever's on there. So if like you,
I know Chris explained to me that's actually running back there. It's not running here.
Yeah.
But
you want to do it when you don't have to do something actively.
well,
When you have like, at least
how long does it take to come back up?
a minute. Sometimes, because sometimes when you load, it just takes a minute.
I was gonna say I will when if you'll just hang
Yeah.
for a second, we can just do it now and see if that when we come back from break, or you can do it because
Although you can't do it when you're sitting in manual, because when it comes back, it's going to go right into automatic.
So we can't do it then. That becomes a problem though.
No, you got to do it in like a commercial break.
Oh, in the break. Okay.
Yeah.
So how would I do this? I would just.
Oh, it's real simple. You literally just go down here, exit application.
Okay.
And just relaunch it.
All right. I'll do it in the next break and see what happens.
All right, wrapping up the second hour already of play here on, seriously, on the Rob Brown Show.
It's like, it's okay. It's all right because it's been heated and excited.
It
and
has been.
It has
been. Today's
And you've been
show
thinking, who can you trade Lonzo to?
has brought heat. Let me grab clip 1,
What kind of heat?
the good kind. Legit heat, heel heat, good heel heat. Clip number 1, speaking of heel heat, Lou Holtz was talking Ohio State, Notre Dame. Of course, Lou Holtz, very well known here in the upstate, but also very well known in South Bend, Indiana. He was talking Buckeyes v. Irish before the game on Saturday evening, and Lou said this.
Notre Dame is a better football team than Ohio State.
Love hearing that. Please, Coach.
And let me tell you why. We have the best offensive line in the country. Sam Hartman won't even get his jersey dirty all year. He has time to throw the football. The offensive line, we have great running backs. Esteem is averaging about 10 yards a carry. We have great receivers. So offensively, we're set. Defensively, our defensive line's better. And you look at Coach Day, and I coached at Ohio State under Woody Hayes. We won the national championship when I was there.
That's right.
So I'm proud of that. However, he has lost to Alabama, Georgia, Clemson, Michigan twice, and everybody that beats him does so because they're more physical than Ohio State. And I think Notre Dame will take that same approach. I know that our schedule, it hasn't been the best. We're 103rd in strength of schedule. However, that doesn't bother me because every day we get to practice against good. We get to practice covering our good receivers. Won't be much different than covering the great receiver they have at Ohio State. And plus, we're playing at home. It'll be a close football game, but we will win because we believe. Forget who in the hell we're playing. Just tell Ohio State this. You take this message to Ohio State. You tell them they better bring their lunch because it's going to be a full damn day's work.
I love that.
All right, so there's 2 things here. Number 1, I do love that Lou Holtz went full mob boss at the end. You take this message to Ohio State. You
Well,
tell
it
them
was-
bring their lunch pails because it's going to be a long day.
It was a Lou Holtz impersonator interviewing a Lou Holtz, all from the McAfee show.
Incredible. Well, the message from Lou Holtz.
By the way, Lou Holtz could never be a mob boss.
No one takes him seriously.
Exactly.
I want you to take that guy out. What you mean out, Lou? Ryan Day heard all that, and Ryan Day was not happy. I'm going to start of the 2 Ryan Day clips with clip 1A. This is on the sideline immediately after Ohio State bullied their way down to the end zone and bullied their way into the end zone on the final play of the game for a walk-off touchdown. Ryan Day was fired up.
I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now.
Did I blow that?
No, that would be me.
Oh.
And like,
I'd like to know where Lou Holtz is right now. What he said about our team, I cannot believe. This is a tough team right here. We're proud to be from Ohio, and it's always been Ohio against the world, and it'll continue to be Ohio against the world. But I'll tell you what, I love those kids, and we got a tough team.
It's Ohio versus the world. The whole state versus the world, says Ryan Day. But he wasn't done. Then he did his actual post-game press conference in the locker room, and he kept at it.
To come in here to win like that after winning the way we did last year, because we physically got after them last year. We did. Put the film on. A lot of people make a lot of comments that don't watch film. Put the film on and watch what goes on. And for us to hang in there, because the momentum was going with Notre Dame at one point, and our guys stuck their foot in the ground, and JT makes a big-time play, and the guts of our team to go and win that game on the road. You're going to tell me this team's not physical, not tough? You're wrong. People are taking shots at this team. And, when it's one play away, it really hurts. But we just finished it with one play right there. And it's very fitting. And that's what we just, celebrated in the locker room, and we'll continue to celebrate for a little while.
You were fairly emotional coming off that field. What were you feeling at that moment?
Well, I've been emotional. The team will tell you that for the last couple of days. When I started hearing some of the things that we're saying, first off, it's not true. I don't know where people get off just saying things. It really upsets me. Put the film on. People make comments, and they don't watch film. Our guys are tough. They're physical. They do. They get after it. And they did it again tonight.
And you said that was Coach Holtz?
Yeah, it was.
Front row, Tim May on 3.
I don't know where he gets off saying those type of things. I don't. I mean, I have some other things I'd like to say too, but I'm not going to say that because I'm more respectful than he is.
Ryan Day said, I don't care if you're 190, Lou. I heard you, and I'm coming for you, brother.
Yeah, people are he shouldn't say that about it. It's like, just shut up, man. Lou started it.
Look, I'm going to say this. Lou already knew this, but learned a very important lesson. Even if you are in a spot where your goal is to hype up people, because that's where Lou was. He was on a game day. He was supposed to be hyping people up. You're supposed to be getting the home crowd rowdy. They were in South Bend. He's supposed to be pumping up the boys. Here's the thing. The other guys still get to hear what you have to say. This is a lesson all of us in broadcasting learn at some point. You might be at a pep rally. You might be on stage at a street festival. You might be somewhere in a room talking to one dude. But if you say something that the other dude gets to slap on the bulletin board and stick a pin in it and go, now we made it personal, then they're gonna hear it and they're gonna respond, and you get to eat it. Have a great weekend, Lou.
Eat it, Lou.
Ohio versus the world, says Ryan Day. NFL Talk when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate. Valdez, what's up? I was not working the phones like Shefty to make a deal for Alonzo.
He's left the room an awful lot today. That's all I'm saying. I mean,
Mainly because I don't want to talk to people on the phone for that long.
An emergency landing due to engine trouble. Everyone's fine, but they might not be home for a while.
oh yeah, I'm supposed to do this thing where I'm scared to do this thing, but I'm going to do it.
But at least this is all happening after a win. QB Kenny Pickett had his best game so far this season, 235 yards and 2 scores.
Okay, so that still works. But I don't remember which one I'm supposed to click. No! Let's go with this one. Let's see if this is the right one. Yay. It was the right one.
Hooray.
And it worked. It got the clock back in sync. Yay, because it was 10 seconds off.
Got another GM on the phone.
Jeez, man. Please not NPR, okay? Anywhere but NPR. I don't want to go to NPR. I'll never make it there.
You may not be required to pay it all back because there are special programs now in effect that will significantly reduce the amount you will owe if you qualify. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. These programs, which the credit card companies like to keep secret, exist to aid American consumers struggling with overwhelming credit card debt by offering tremendous savings and real debt relief. Accredited Debt Relief has established a special hotline for you to call and learn what savings you qualify for. It helps qualify consumers with over $1 billion in debt and our A+ rated.
He would be so lucky to work with me again, Zach. Although many lessons learned on that show are I'm using even today. A lot of here's what I shouldn't do. He's not back, man. Negotiations must be going pretty good, I guess. I got a text from the boss here in a minute saying I need to stop by after I'm in trouble. I've heard that before somewhere, Zach. All right, tell me it wasn't NPR, okay? Because I'm not going to NPR. I will retire.
I'll go to NPR. And also, yes, I'm 100% in for the Upstate Pulse being 6 days a week.
Not. You know how much work that would be?
In fairness, that show for you is like me with sports. Like, is it work? Yes, but is it work?
It's still there are days like Saturday when I went, crap, I'm in trouble. And then it got there and I was not because of the amount of stuff was just not there. And then you count on, and then someone gets stuck in the bathroom and things like that happen. And then you have fun. And then you have a guy who's from Ireland who's on the show who didn't say Jules. He the ELS part did not come across on the air. And I had to do that thing that I have to do here sometimes. Okay, here's what he said. He said Jules. He didn't say the other thing you thought he said. This show and that show are exactly what radio should be, fun. Even when you're being serious, it still should be fun. You still should be able to walk out, friends, even though I'll be shaking a hand while I'm being traded. We'll still be, work friends unless I go to NPR and then I'll hate Rob forever. You keep saying you'd love to go to NPR. You would not be able to take it. If everyone speaks that way in the hallways and everyone's got that.
I would 100% try to break the NPR mold. I would bring this to NPR.
Yeah.
Like, let me do a sports show on NPR sounding like this.
You'd make it an
Let me
hour.
try it.
You'd make it an hour, maybe.
One
maybe.
segment. They're like, hey, we tried it.
Dude, you're out.
It's the Rob Brown Show against the world. The world. Who says we ain't tough? Lou. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The Rob Brown Show starts hour number 3 right now on the Fan Upstate.
You know, one thing about those clips that we played at the end of the last hour, I've been thinking about this. So if he heard Lou, that means he's hearing some other people saying that his job is on the line if he can't beat Michigan.
Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
That's a live clip from Ryan Day.
Yeah.
Live clip from Ryan Day.
That's the most fire I've ever seen out of him, I think. And
do we like it? We like it, right?
I'm worried about his blood pressure. That's just, I mean, you know, when you see a normally calm person just suddenly go off, it's like, wow, he's feeling the heat.
I liked it.
But he's feeling the heat.
I mean, maybe. But ain't that okay for you?
I mean, I get it.
You ain't trying to lose to Michigan again.
I get it. My team, you know, came out the victor.
They did.
So, I mean, and what a game that was.
Oof, it was fun, dude.
Yeah. It's, you don't speak in my household when that's going on because my wife will, yeah, it's just like, I'm just shutting up over here, just watching the game.
I respect that. I do. Hey, what do you say we talk some Nash Football League here on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate? And I think you got to start with Miami, right? Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins.
No, you got to start with Kansas City.
Miami Dolphins. Okay, you're right. Taylor Swift was at the Kansas City Chiefs game in the most important thing that happened when Kansas City took on the Bears and embarrassed them. The only thing that came out of that game that was worth talking about is that Tay-Tay was up in there with TK. That's it. The Miami Dolphins hung 70 on the Denver Broncos. First off,
you know what that is? It's disrespectful. But at the same time, it happened to Denver.
Tua Tagovailoa, 23 of 26.
That man is so accurate.
Most accurate quarterback in the league. Like, I used to say it is a joke. Kind of not now. 23 of 26 for 309. 4 touchdowns. By the way, I also got a text earlier that said, and I quote, "Please refrain from using the word tutty. It sounds quite unprofessional, sir. Thank you." Well, if you're listening to this show and expecting the height of professionalism, you came to the right place. Because Lonzo and I, we are nothing if not the ultimate professionals.
You'll never catch me saying that because I just, you know.
Hello, ladies.
I mean, the height of professionalism.
Oh, yeah.
All right, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tua Tagovailoa threw for 4 TDs.
What?
4 touchdowns.
What?
4 scores.
What?
4 times in the end zone. 4 tutties.
What?
And no interceptions in that game.
Yeah,
A QBR of 155.8.
See, here's what it is. It's this generation who thinks they have to shorten everything. You're not even this generation. It's that last generation. I've got to shorten things by going tutty. It's like, no.
You don't call it a TD?
A TD is totally different than a tutty.
It literally is the same thing.
A tutty sounds like something
tutty.
you do in the restroom.
I just changed from T
it's
to
just
tub.
No. It's just not. It's not. No. Just don't.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It is the difference between
Is it though?
V and the T and tub.
No.
TD
It's just-
tutty.
I don't. So when did you first hear that, and why did you decide that
Like
it
week
was
2
cool?
of this season, and immediately I loved it. As
So
soon as
you-
I heard it, I'm like, oh, that's great.
You never said that before the season.
Dead serious.
Okay, because
In fact, I can tell you the exact moment that it happened was week 1 of the NFL season, 2 of the college season. Our boy P1 Jack and I were watching football, and he was talking about, his Bills. He was talking about Josh Allen, when he said Josh. It was after week 1 where Josh had 3 TDs or had 3 INTs and no TDs. And he looked at me and he goes, because I was taught we gamble together, right? So I was telling him about the picks I put in and how Josh screwed me in week 1. And he's like, listen, bet Josh Allen on the tutty over next week. And it was like slang, I like it. And it's been tutty since. I like it. Touchdown, tuddy.
Yeah, I just
Tutty.
not a fan of ribbies either.
Love ribbies.
Yeah.
Ribbies, grannies.
Grannies.
Yeah.
Is that like a
Grand
grand slam? Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
A granny.
Come on. The only granny I want to hear
We've
about
been calling it granny since Bob Euchre in Major League.
is when Arn Anderson says granny. That's the only granny I want to hear about.
By the way, I also during this game, as the young man out of Texas ran 18 times for 203. Every time he touched the ball, Lonzo just went, Devon! Get the tutty! See what I did there?
Tell me you
See what I
didn't
did
say
there?
that part because there's a table in the
I didn't
hallway.
say it at least once.
Because I will go get the
I
table.
did say it at
I'm
least
about
once.
to be traded. I might as well,
18 for 203, 2 TDs. Raheem Mostert had 13.
Wow,
for
you
82
sound
and
you sound like
3.
that guy who has to use proper grammar
Sorry.
somewhere, and it's very difficult.
Raheem Mostert carried the ball 13 times for 82 yards and 3 touchdowns on the day.
No. It better not be NPR.
Tyreek Hill, 9 catches, 157 yards, and 1 touchdown, including a 54-yarder. I'm about to switch to the metric system because that's how formal
right.
y'all want. Y'all want this
All
to be
right.
formal?
All right.
Y'all want it to be formal? I'll make it formal. Robbie Chosen, the former Robbie Anderson, 1 catch, 68 yards, and a touchdown. Raheem Mostert also caught the football 7 times, recorded 60 yards through the air, and 1 touchdown.
Damn, son, that is one compelling argument.
Skrilla said Tutty sounds like a teddy for a real sturdy girl. Yeehaw! The Dolphins hung 70, and Sean Payton was quoted as saying, I came back for this! The hell? My favorite thing about this is that the defensive coordinator for the Denver Broncos, Vic Fangio, who was brought back. Remember, he used to be at Denver, and then he got fired, and then Sean Payton got hired by Denver, and then he brought Vic Fangio back, and I got $1 says Vic Fangio gets fired this week.
Or he resigns. One or the other.
Or he resigns.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah. The old, this didn't work out. This didn't work out. Our bad, bro. Take it on. See ya.
I've decided to spend more time with my family.
You know my favorite part about this? My favorite part is that during the Broncos' quest for a new head coach, the last time around when they brought in Nathaniel Hackett, remember that? Remember Nathaniel Hackjob? Remember that guy?
Yeah, he's with the Jets right now.
He is their OC.
Regretting life.
Yep.
Also.
Yup. So when they went to hire that guy, there was another young man in the coaching game who was trying to get a job there because he, and this story broke out over the weekend, used to work for the Denver Broncos. Now, it was way back in the day, and he served in the illustrious role of ball boy. But then he rose up through the coaching rankings, and he got to the point where he was looking for an HC job. And he asked the Denver Broncos just for the opportunity to interview for the job. And they said, no, we don't know you. We don't like you. We're not going to talk to you. So then he went on to become the head coach of the Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniels, who turned around and dropped 70 on the Broncos this weekend.
Also, the one NFL coach that you would like to actually be in the press conference and ask questions.
I would hang out with Mike McDaniels so hard. Somebody hit me last offseason. There was a video going around of a Dolphins practice where Mike McD was in the joggers and the hoodie, and he's sneaking hits off his vape pen at practice while I think NWA was bumping at practice, and somebody put up a picture of that, and they were like, Mike McDaniels looks like his dad is actually the coach, and he went away for the weekend, and Mike just took over. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen about a head coach, and listen, there's a lot of NFL coaches I'd like to hang out with. I'd like to hang out with Mike Vrabel, specifically today, just to hear what he has to say about the Titans, because God, what a dumpster fire.
If I want to hang out with Vrabel, I'll just go back to Ohio, because that's I want to hang out with Andy Reid because
you left Ohio, and it's Ohio versus the world. You're part of the world now, buddy. Sorry.
No, I'm not.
Yep,
Ohio's in my heart. I want to hang out with Andy Reid because my boy, He knows where the good burger joints
My
are.
man said, do it again with those nuggies.
Yes.
Andy Reid saying the word nuggies was
Yes.
not something I was prepared for this weekend.
How many takes did it take before he got the nuggies just
I don't
right?
think it's so much how many times did it take Andy Reid to say nuggies
No.
as how many times did it take for Mahomes not to laugh his ass off at it.
Or how many takes did it take? How many burgers and fries did he go through in that commercial before they got it right? It's like, nope.
Like, it
Sorry.
probably gets to the end of the line, and he's like, do it again with those oops, need another burger. Take 62. I love Andy. Anyway, Andy's great. I want to hang with Mike because I feel like Mike McDaniels is the cat. You'd show up at the house, and he'd be like, check out this B-side of this jam hippie band from 1974 and, like, feel the music, dude. And it would be some life-altering stuff that you didn't know existed, but Mike's got it on 3 different vinyl albums.
See, I thought he'd be listening to like Bread, but that's just me.
Probably that too.
But Bread is a band. You know, I found their diary underneath the tree and started reading about me. I had a bet. People didn't think I could do that. That's what I'm going with.
Bread second place to Cake, just ahead of Meatloaf in the food named bands department.
Well,
Meatloaf wasn't really a band.
can't have meatloaf without bread, unless you use crackers, I suppose.
All right. The Dolphins dropped 70. It's not even a game we're talking about. It's just a game we're joking about. I loved it. I had a ball. Our buddy Andrew, P1 Andrew, who is the president of the Reedy River Supporter Club, the official supporters club of the Greenville Triumph, is a Dolphins fan. You'll remember last year, Lonzo. Last year, I had to wear a Dolphins fan on the Dolphins hat on the string for a day.
Yeah, it's a hat. You have to wear a fan because that would be a totally different thing.
I had to wear a Dolphins hat on the stream last year because the Dolphins beat the Saints in a walk-off, and I looked at him, and I'm like, you guys are going to be damn good next year, like real good. And now they're dropping 70s on fools.
Let's slow it down there, Hoss. It's only, game 3?
I mean, they still got to get through KC, but as of right now, the Miami Dolphins have the number 1 seed in the AFC.
Yeah, I've seen this movie, read this book, heard this song before.
The AFC runs through Miami. I love it. How about?
Hey, Tyreek, if you're listening, man, come on up to Lake Kiowee. I got into the marina. Just hang for a while.
Why would he not stay hanging with the most accurate quarterback in the National Football League? By the way, Tua could have gone perfect yesterday, too. He and Spence both could have been perfect this weekend. How about, I don't know, I feel like we got to talk Panthers. Rashad's coming out on Wednesday, by the way, because he's going, well, I can't tell you where he's going. I'd have to kill you.
Yeah,
But he'll be out of town Thursday, Friday. So Rashad Beard's going to join us on Wednesday.
Yeah,
Panthers.
he'll be out of town. That's what it, yeah. I mean, we know. We don't know. We kind of know.
I actually do know. He told me this time. I just can't tell anybody else.
Wow, that's I'm hurt.
He'll probably tell you too.
Okay.
He just tweeted me to make sure we could go Wednesday. Panthers 27, Seahawks 37. Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, 361 and 2 TDs.
I was gonna say it's not Andy's fault.
No, not at all.
He played pretty well.
Not at all.
Especially for an old guy. People forget how old he is.
44 yards rushing. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the game. Can't run the football, can't win NFL games.
Wait. Didn't the Panthers get a running back that was pretty good last year?
9 carries, 24 yards for Miles Sanders. He averaged 2.7 yards per carry, 1 grab.
Yeah, but you could
also
bring in Chuba, right? Because Chuba could you could
Chuba Hubbard, 1 carry, 2 yards.
Oh, okay. All right.
Andy Dalton, 2 carries for 11. Laviska Shenault, 2 carries for 7 yards. Can't run the ball, can't win. Now,
Wait. Andy Dalton was like number 2?
34, 58, 361, 2 tutties.
I mean the rushing yards.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not that's not inspiring any optimism, is it?
Yeah,
by the way, number 2 with 11 yards.
Yeah.
Not like Andy Dalton had a Geno Smith day, went bananas.
Yeah, it was ugly. It looked like he was falling the entire time, but he got 11 yards.
That's Andy Dalton. That's the Red Rifle. And of course, what do I get on social media? And I just see clowns going, that's it. Don't switch back to Bryce. Speaking of, though, rookie quarterbacks, and I'll talk more about that with Rashad. Ladies and gentlemen, Trevor Lawrence was taken down this weekend, Lonzo, by C.J. Stroud from the Ohio State University, who went 20 of 30 for 280 and 2 touchdowns and a QBR of 83.8.
You know, he could have also been in Carolina. I don't know if you knew that or not. Let's point that out.
Is it fair to say that with Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Robert Woods, and Damian Pierce, that he has better weapons around him than Bryce Young does?
I recognize maybe one of those guys.
You got to know Robert Woods. He was in L.A. when they won the Super Bowl. You got to know Nico Collins.
I don't got to nothing.
I mean, that's fair. You don't. I don't got to do nothing, huh? I don't got to nothing. All right. I will say, I did have my Shaquille O'Neal. I have to apologize. I was unfamiliar with your game moment with Tank Dell, who has 15 snags for 251 and 2 tutties this way. I'm going to say it as much as I can this hour, by the way. Sorry in advance. On the season, he has 251 yards. He got 145 of those yesterday.
Don't think I won't.
There's nothing dirty about Tutty. Are you kidding me, Lonzo? Are you kidding me?
I had done it in a while. I want to make sure it still worked. I mean, is it considered that?
You know it still works.
I do now. Consider that a test.
Now you want me, now it's like you want me to use Tutty in more progressively dirty ways.
No, I just, you know.
I feel like you just challenged me there.
I did not.
Tank Dell, 5 snags, $145, and a touchdown for the Texans, who knock off the Jags 37-17.
Wait.
Are the Texans better than we thought, or are the Jags not who we thought they were, or is this an anomaly?
I'm going to say yes.
Good enough for me.
Because you were touting the Jacksonville Jaguars and, you know, how good they were.
That's what I'm saying.
And then they fall to Houston.
I think they got me.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe it was just one game. We'll find out next game. Are they like in London next week?
Is it next week?
London's coming up. I saw some ads, but I don't remember.
No, they were running those preseason. They really want you to get up at 8 a.m. Eastern time. London games are the only time it's good to be an NFL fan in the Eastern time zone. Every other time sucks. Monday Night Football kicking off at 8:30 p.m. kills me.
All right, by the way,
anyway.
Zach on the stream says Colts winning the AFC South, baby. And they might.
They really might. They really might, man. The Colts got it done again. Well, they had a fight against the Ravens, but they got it done against the Ravens.
Wait.
22-19.
I thought the Ravens were supposed to be really good.
2-1 are both of those teams.
Okay, all right.
But
you know who was not supposed to be any good at all? The Colts.
Have something that nobody else has. Minshew mania. 27 of 44, 227 and a touch for Gardner.
You don't think Richardson would have won the game?
No. Anthony Richardson would have won that game. If everything plays out the same. Of course, it does help when Zach Moss has 30 carries for 122 yards and you get $139 on the ground.
Wait. I thought their running back was holding out.
Zach Moss is holding something. The number 1 spot on the depth chart. Lamar, 14 carries for $101 and 2 touchdowns on the ground, 202 through the air on 22 of 31. Ravens got to be better. They got to finish drives. They just didn't finish drives.
I think they're doing what they do every year. They'll make it to the playoffs probably and then do nothing.
41-10 Chiefs over the Bears. That's enough about that game. Cardinals 28-16 over the Dallas Cowboys, and
I think you should talk about the Chiefs a little bit because I don't know if you knew about this. It's a really big deal. But
Travis Kelce's dating Taylor Swift.
No, Patrick Mahomes got hurt a little.
Hey, he was fine. He came back into the game.
I don't know, dude. I saw him limping, and I was worried. I know he won a Super Bowl limping like that, but still, it's early in the season. I thought that was a big deal.
Yeah, we'll find out. He got his leg rolled up on after he had thrown a football. Player got blocked backwards into him, rolled into the ankle. He was seen hopping up and down the field. He did come back and finish the game up. He did look a little step slow, a little tentative to put the weight down. We'll see if that impacts anybody. Josh freaking Dobbs, 17 of 21, $189, and a touch. And the Cardinals rushed against the Dallas Cowboy defense for 222 yards on the ground. Here's the thing.
Do you know you and Stephen A are like in solidarity when it comes to Dallas? Is that okay with you?
It's the only thing I'm in solidarity with SAS, with SAS. Here's what I want to say. I got it on the social. Remember the guy I told you about earlier with the hat, the Romo style thing?
Mm-hmm.
He's still on Twitter. I follow him. He follows me. We're boys. We're still friends. We just don't talk NFL football anymore. And he put up, he's like, well, we were missing 3 of our starting offensive linemen. And I'm like, oh, that sucks. Which of those offensive linemen was going to stop the 222 yards of rushing only offense did they put on you? Which of those linemen was going to stop James Conner from carrying it for an average of 7 yards per carry and a touch? Which of those offensive linemen was going to stop Josh Dobbs from running at 6 for 55, throwing it for $189 and a touch? Which of those offensive linemen was going to stop Rondale Moore from carrying it for an 18 yards per carry on 3 carries and a touch? Which of those guys on the offensive line was going to stop that from happening? I told y'all 2 weeks ago.
Hey, Rob.
The Cowboy defense is going to be good. The Cowboy offense is going to stink, and that's the game.
Are we witnessing a quarterback controversy in Arizona?
I mean, you're not watching that.
By the way, also all the Call of Duties are about to drop on Game Pass. So I don't know.
I mean,
that's just coincidence. Just
Kyler to hit the IL for a little while.
It's just coincidence, probably.
I'll tell you, look, the Cardinals are 1-2, and frankly, and I mean this, they could be 3-0. They have been in every game so far, dude. They have been in every game so far. They lost to the Commanders by 4. They lost to the Giants by 3 after giving up, what was it, a 21-point second half deficit. The Cardinals could be 3-0. Instead, they're 1-2 on the season right now. I'm not upset with them. Who else jumped off the page of this yesterday? The Bills got back, right? 37-3, they went over the Commanders, but Josh Allen had 218, 1 touch, and 1 pick. Patriots have a 15-game win streak going over the Jets, same amount of points as they won 15-10 yesterday. Chargers 28-24 over the 0-3 Vikings. You know, the Vikings that were going to be in the NFC Championship this year? 0-3. Woof.
It could still happen, maybe.
No, it can't. The Titans stink, and the Falcons get beat by the Lions, who got back on the right path. Texas said, y'all got to do better. Quit relying on a soundboard and obnoxious words like tutty. No one cares about the Pelicans, Saints, or Taylor Swift.
That was very specific and aimed at you, I believe, because all those, things.
I mean, all those things are me.
Yeah. Wow.
The Carolina Panthers fell yesterday to the Seattle Seahawks. What do you want? That's what the show is. It's fun, it's loud, it's obnoxious. And if fun, loud, and obnoxious isn't for you, you are. We're back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Tutties for everybody.
Cables.
All right, guys, got a live read right here. Stay right there. We'll be right back.
I don't know, JD, but I can tell you what.
Ray.
People's phone numbers show up on the text line. I'm just saying.
Rob, you're a bleep head, you're an a-hole, and I love you for that very freaking thing. Fan, counterpoint. Shut up, Ray.
That is something we could never do, JD, because that, I believe, is against the law. Well, in the very least, against the rules here. But I think it's against the law. Keep seeing this tweet about people, about these Dolphins fans taking shots every time. Have you seen that?
I'm not.
Here, I'll send it to you. People are wanting a wellness check on these people. I sent it to you.
My family does a tequila shot for every Dolphins touchdown. Today's historic win has me rethinking the tradition. Chad Ocho Cinco said, "Holy bleep, are y'all okay?" Oh, man.
Ooh, there's a poll question out there. Who will have more wins this season? Colorado Buffaloes or the Denver Broncos?
Ooh.
And I'm going to go ahead and answer who I think is going to have more victories. And so do 82.2% of the people voting right now. And that would be Colorado. I think Colorado will have more wins than Denver. Biggest bust ever in football. Let's run.
Text line blew up unexpectedly. Texture said, "Rob, you're a bleep head, you're a bleep hole, and I love you for that very freaking thing." I don't think I'm any of those things, okay? I don't think I'm those things. In fact, I think I'm a pretty nice guy overall. Lonzo's just playing all the sound bites for that.
No, I
Listen,
didn't get a chance to play that yet.
I'm a very nice guy, I really am. But if you fire, I'm gonna fire back. All right. If you take a shot, I'm gonna take a shot back.
I thought you were getting ready to go into Untouchables.
Thought about it.
Yeah,
Thought about it.
They bring a bat, we bring a gun.
Texter said, "Fan, counterpoint. Shut up, Ray."
Sticking Ray, man.
I don't know if that was Ray or not. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't have. I know Ray's email. I don't have his phone line memorized. I haven't figured out. I haven't deduced if it's him or not.
Ray, you're not famous just because we say your name all the time.
JD said, "Who is this cranky old guy who thinks he can give Rob tips on how to act on his show? Get out of here." I mean, Lonzo, we are two-time. That was 3 times.
Wow, you did
South
it.
Carolina.
What's that?
I'm manifesting number 3.
Was that a spoiler?
Yeah, I'm manifesting number 3.
That was a spoiler.
I'm working on it. Let's see. All right, that's all the text I want to read right here. Texter said, "Rob, middle finger your way again." And it's a different guy. Texter said, "Did you guys see T Swifty watching T Kel catch that tutty?" I did. Tay-Tay came out the chair, gave a chest bump, and said, "Let's bleeping go." I loved it.
All right, that text bothered me and I liked it all at the same time. That's just so many emotions.
You found an interesting poll on the Twitter device during the break there, Lonzo.
I did. It's from a national show. I don't want to give them credit because we don't carry them. But who will have more wins at the end of the season, the Colorado Buffaloes or the Denver Broncos? That's right.
So I got it. My initial thought is Denver because they play 5 more games. But they just got 70 hung on them. And by the way,
hey, are there Vegas odds on whether Sean Payton retires before the end of the season or not?
You can find somebody who can give them to you. If we look hard enough, we can find a bookie who will let you bet on whether or not Sean Payton finishes the year. Which, by the way, I did with Urban Meyer. That's on me. I did with Urban Meyer, and I won some money. Here's my favorite part.
Wait. You bet against Urban Meyer? You bet against Urban. I am shocked to my core that Rob Brown bet against Urban Meyer.
Not only did I, but I won because I was right, A, and B, and here's the part you'll like. I had a running bet going with Mark Ryan about that because he's like, there's no way. And I was like, yes, it is.
Who?
With Mark Ryan, the Counterpoint, the host of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel from 3 to 7 right here on the Fan Upstate.
Love the Diesel show. It's awesome.
The price that he had to pay was that he had to go with me to a bar.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And Mark Ryan had to order for me the most feminine drink that bar served.
Come on, it's 2023.
That came.
And you can't do that.
Oh, let me go ahead and tell you, it's a drink that I order for myself.
You are going to be canceled, mister.
Because it's delightful. It's a nice little spritzer that comes with literally a flower on top of it. It is purple and sparkly, and
excuse me, barkeep. This is delightful.
Yeah, it was. It is. It is a fizz. What do they call it? A spritzer.
Wow.
It's a spritzer, and it's delightful. It is the perfect.
You
perfect
warn
drink.
me when you're doing the spritzer.
Diesel's gonna have a stroke.
Oh, he knows. He felt it. There's a disturbance.
I don't know that I'm ready to go. Texture says over under Sean Payton gets fired before the end of the season. He's not going to. Because he came in late into an organization that was in the midst of a dumpster fire. But here's how I know that this year is not turning around for Denver. Garrett Bowles is an offensive lineman for the Broncos. And asked at the end of that game, after the Dolphins hung 70 on him, what his mentality is, what thoughts are going through his brain, the vet who has been with the Broncos his whole career said, and I quote, but not directly, boat. I'm tired of losing, man. Been here for 7 years, and all I've done is lose, and it's frustrating. But at the same time, I know the dogs we have in our room. I know the dogs we have up front. I know the people we have in this facility, this organization, and we have winners. We do. We got to figure it out. We got to figure it out the hard way. But sometimes when you hit rock bottom, you can't keep going down. You got to go up. The last 3 games, I thought we battled. I thought we gave everything that we needed to give, and we came out short today. It was just one of those fluky games. My guy, losing by 70 is not a fluky game. That's getting it handed to you, bro. That's not oopsie. We gave up 10 touchdowns. There are some teams that will play the whole first half of the season and not get 10 tutties. You're welcome, Texter. 10. And on top of that, look at who you've lost to. You're 0-3. The loss against the Dolphins is understandable. If you just lost the game, you got beat by forget you let up 70. You got beat by 50. Lonzo, how do we feel if this game's like 70-47? You're at least like, right?
That's different. At least you put some points up. Yeah.
You lost by more points than anyone else has scored in a game. And then 20 more. You understand how insane that is? Oh, and your other 2 losses came against the Commanders and the Raiders. Just so we're clear. It's not like you went Chiefs, Dolphins, Who else is in the elite class right now? I can't even think about it.
Well, last year we could have said Cincinnati and Buffalo, but you can't say that this year. Who's really good? San Francisco.
Yes. It's not like you're 0-3 with L's to the Chiefs, the Niners, and the Dolphins. You're 0-3 with L's to the Raiders, Commanders, and Dolphins. It's a fluke game. Get out of here. Which also takes me to a text that I saw on Twitter. Sorry, tweet that I saw on Twitter. And
I mean the X show.
So I was on twitter.com and I saw a tweet that was like, the college football world was shocked with the outcome of the Oregon-Colorado game. No, I'm not shocked by the end of the Oregon-Colorado game. I'm rich because of the Oregon-Colorado game. I'm not actually rich. It's just an expression. But no, Robbie B made some money on that game because anybody who's not – listen, I'm not a gatekeeper in college football. All right? I'm not a gatekeeper. I will always welcome noobs to sit and watch the big screen. I will always welcome noobs to jump in and enjoy some college ball. I will always welcome them. I was listening to a show that I very much liked the other day who was referring to the people who are getting into the game as filthy casuals. He's like, they're ruining the conversation.
Filthy casuals.
Yeah. We're letting the conversation be dictated by filthy casuals.
Who uses the word filthy? I mean, yeah, exactly.
Like, you know.
Right over here. Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I don't care. I want new people in. College football's better when there's more fans. Everything's better when there's more fans. But at the same time, can we stop with the sensationalism? The college football world was shocked by it. No, they weren't. The line was 21.
Haters gonna hate.
They were 21-point dogs. Now, granted, they lost by 2 touchdowns more than that. But still, they were 21-point dogs. You see a 21-point dog, a loss is not shocking. You can lose by 27. It's not shocking. Knock that off. Texas says, Rob, how bad would Clemson have to do this season for Dabo to ditch his conservative methods and conform with modern-day college football, or would he at all?
What a well-written text.
Honestly, it's a good question.
It's a very good, and a well-written text.
And I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I have written that question down on the tablet of truth to get into on tomorrow's show.
Wow, the tablet of truth.
I just came up with that because they both start with a T.
Does it need a theme?
Alliteration.
Tablet of truth.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll work on that.
It's a gimmick show. You know, you got to have a great gimmick to succeed in entertainment. Dion's got his. LA Knight's got his. Rob's got his.
Yeah, we got to work on that because we need one of those. Maybe we'll win some awards if we got a gimmick.
Here's what I will say.
I know a gimmick. Arbiter. That's a gimmick.
It really is.
Faux beef with coaches. That's a gimmick.
I like this question. I want to answer this question, but I'll start with this. I'll take a real brief run at it today, and then I'll come back to it tomorrow. And it's on the tablet of truth to get back to. Dabo Swinney gets paid what we now know is an accurate measurement, a buttload of money.
Yes, buttload is a
real
measurement. It is a load. Okay? It's a measurement. Yes.
Dabo Swinney gets paid a buttload of money, almost $12 million a year before you start including endorsements and extra cashola, bonuses, yada, yada, yada. He is the second highest paid coach in college football. Now, Lonzo, there are a lot of things in this world that I will not do. There's a lot of things in this world that I use the expression, you can't pay me to do that. But that is an expression, not a truth, because there's a lot of things I will say you can't pay me to do, but you could. Now, there might be a lot of zeros on the paycheck, but as the $1 Million Man once said, everybody's got a price.
By the way, you can't pay me to clean out porta potties. There.
Lonzo, if I offered you $5 million.
Nope. I said you
Good
can't.
on you.
I said you can't. No, because I can't handle smells, and that would just be. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to complete the job as instructed. So I'm not going to take a job that I can't do, and I wouldn't be able to do it.
Good on you, Lonzo. I will clean the hell up out of a porta potty for $5 million. I'll do it for $1 million. Hell, I might do it for $500,000. All right, because that 20 minutes is going to be worth it.
How about
sitting in a Bugatti?
A porta potty set up at a county fair.
$1 million? Hey, sure.
All right. A Pickens County Fair.
Sure, $1 million. Every one of my problems is solved immediately with $1 million. So the point here is, Dabo can say all day, the way, if I ran the program the way some of y'all wanted me to, I'd be gone a long time ago. No, first off, no, you wouldn't. Nobody's complaining about what you did in the past. They're complaining about what you did now. But I'll tell you right now, Dabo Swinney's got about $11.5 million. I'm sorry, 11.5 reasons per year to change up what he's doing.
Was that Ocho Cinco that did that?
I think that was T.O.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah, I think that was Terrell.
I know it was one of them.
Got about 11.5 million reasons per year to maybe hit the portal. To maybe not lean on the local super duper good kid that really wants to be here. That being said,
I think you're just anti super duper kid that really wants to be here. Because you did the hand, that harump thing.
Here's the deal, dude. Got to win. Now, again, everybody needs to calm down. Everybody needs to calm down, and they need to calm down because you lost to the number 4 team in America in overtime. It's not like you got beat by 45 by a bad team. Number 4 team in the country in OT. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. A video has emerged of Mahomes and Kelsey on the sideline waving at Tay-Tay.
Batteries just died in the keyboard.
Diesel. All right, guys. Technical break. Be right back.
There's supposed to be batteries left in here.
Zach wants to know what makes the Pickens County Fair worse than any other fair.
Cows.
I can't help you.
Yay, that worked. I think. No, maybe it didn't work.
It's be a dumb question, but is the keyboard okay?
No, it's working. Diesel wanted, because the cords kept getting tangled. Here's, the thing you do. You don't move them. If you don't move them, they don't get tangled. Just like the mic arm doesn't get broke if you don't move it. But, I guess I just do things in a preventive manner rather than oh, it's broke, someone gets paid to fix it. That's, you know. So he wanted battery keyboards, and I didn't complain about it, but I knew there might be I knew if it was going to run out, it would do it on me, which it did. But since we had just rebooted this, I was worried that it had something to do with that. You didn't see me taking the keyboard over here and like hitting it, and you were doing the thing.
No, I saw you.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I was
fighting it.
Trying to see if I could wake it up. Wake up! I was trying to resuscitate it. Didn't work. Oh, that's in the wrong place. You're in the right place, right? So come on, you got this. Calm down. You're good.
Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough.
Some people are very sensitive. That's all I'm saying. My methods for instigation have never changed. They have been refined, though.
A flock of sheep ate 220 pounds of marijuana. How many sheep were there?
I'm just nervous over here. You're using the sheep word. So,
I ever since the relationship talk, I now pop my peas so aggressively.
hey, I'm not saying everything out of Pickens County is bad, Zach. Just it's like 97.85% of it. Everybody else is good. Hey, Zach, don't get angry. Time to ask Rob Brown what the X is going on.
I don't know.
The show. That's what the X is going on. It's almost over again for another day. My final day. I'm being traded to NPR. I'm gonna be a hater. All right. The first thing that's Xing
Yo
is Topanga.
This is like the fourth time Topanga has X'd on this show. And for the record, I'm 100% okay with that. Of all of the TV girlfriends of the 90s, of my era of growing up television, Topanga takes the cake. And listen,
all you 90s,
we all love Topanga.
Adults. I mean, like even Zach, yeah.
The overwhelming opinion has, and always will be Kelly Kapowski. But I think that is something that we all had during our youth. And then as we grew up.
That's you guys had during your
youth.
Us. Yes, thank you.
That we had.
Because if it was for me, it would be kind of creepy.
Also true. When we were growing up, it was Kelly Kapowski. But I think once we kind of hit our adulthood and we looked back on it, we realized while Kelly Kapowski was a smoke show, no doubt, Kelly Kapowski came with a ridiculous amount of drama and baggage. With Topanga, you had to put up with the weird girl a little bit, but there was no baggage with Topanga. Topanga would look you in the face and be like, I'm mad because blank. I'm upset. I'm happy. I'm thrilled because blank. She would just give you whatever. Like, here's how I feel. Here's what I want done to fix it. And once you get to be my age, you want that out of a woman. That's out of a relationship. Forget out of a woman. Out of any relationship. You want the other person to go, here's how I feel, here's why, and here's what can be done to fix it. Let's have a grown-up conversation.
Hey, Rob, why is she Xing?
I have no idea.
Okay.
She should always be Xing.
She met J. Cole. It's a big deal. She's like, oh my gosh, there's J. Cole. And then she met J. Cole.
Hey, listen, if it made Topanga happy, I'm good with it.
There's video if you want to watch
If
it.
it made
If you want to see what she
Danielle
looks like right now, you can watch a video. By the way, I have no idea who J. Cole is. I'm pretty sure he's a rapper.
Yep.
Okay. All right. The next thing that's Xing, is Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill. So he very clearly burned somebody on Twitter today because that's kind of Luke's shtick at this point.
Nah.
And I'm here for it.
Nah.
Okay, so then he is 76.
That's too old. He's 72. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Luke.
Happy birthday, Joker.
By the way, did you see, I didn't know this. Apparently a while back, he cut an interview about how he hated the Luke Skywalker of the new trilogy. He's like, it's Ryan's movie. I don't own this character. In this moment, he does, so I'll do whatever he says. But I did not like the portrayal of Luke Skywalker as angsty, sad, alone guy. And Luke Hamill's never been more right.
Mark Hamill, not Luke Hamill. You said Luke Hamill.
Whatever, Mark Skywalker.
Okay. All right.
That's of a cool name.
One of them dudes.
Anyway.
Mark Skywalker lives next door. He works at the 7-Eleven.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you for being correct on the internet. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll do that Dabo conversation. I'll give you my NFL power rankings post this evening's Monday Night Football games. Y'all have a lovely rest of your day. Don't drink or drive. I'll punch you in the face. See you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, but you know what's pretty good, Zach? Ahsoka's pretty good.
Ahsoka's phenomenal.
Ahsoka's pretty good.
Phenomenal.
Did you watch it? Are you caught up yet?
I am halfway through this episode. I started it last night.
How can you go halfway?
Well, let me tell you what happened. I started it because I thought I had it timed out to where the fiance's flight would land and it would take her a little while to get home. So I was going to have time to finish it. And her flight landed a few minutes early, and she used her status in that building to expedite her departure from the airport, we'll say.
Hey, when you know a guy, you know a guy.
So she got home earlier than I expected. So I was really about 60% of the way through, and she opened the door. And I was like, all right, I'll finish it later. Because my thought was she's going to go to bed like relatively quickly, and I'll jump back in. And so she walks in and she's like, hey, do you want to get a pizza and watch Monday Night Football? And like, you don't say no to that, right? So we got a pizza and watched Monday Night Football. And then I never went back to finish the show.
You just wanted to brag that she wanted to watch
pizza Monday Night Football. You're damn right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame you there.
Absolutely. Why wouldn't you? That's an incredible opportunity.
Except it wasn't Monday, but you know.
Whatever. Sunday night. who's keeping track? Blank night football. You know what I meant. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for hanging out. Hope you have a lovely remainder of your Monday.
It was nice, nice being on this program. Check me out on NPR starting tomorrow.
Shefty will break Lonzo's trade destination later in the day. It'll be a Shefty bomb. Bye.